What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about Marvel Rivals. There's some leaked info coming out of new characters coming out in Season 1, like, confirmed now. Even though it's leaked, it's confirmed. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Skyblivion. We're going to watch a video, A Road to Skyblivion, which is a mod, basically, of Oblivion, but modders are making it, and they're calling it Skyblivion. It's less than a year away for them making it, so we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about CD Projekt Red. What happened here? We're going to talk about CD Projekt Red accused of paying bots to defend The Witcher 4. And then we're also going to talk about former Age of Empire developer says that the RTS genre is stuck in a rut. So we'll also go over that. And if we have other things, if we have time, we'll talk maybe about Nintendo Switch. Or we're going to talk about, there's a Marvel Rivals video done by Legendary Drops about 9 days ago. And I came across it just a couple days ago. So we'll check that out as well if we have time. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Eclipse? What's going on, Stealth? What's going on, Crowded House? Travis? Robert Jones. Yeah, Jones. They're all bot music. It's fantastic. I don't know if you heard the Marvel Rivals one I put in there. We put a Game Pass one in there. We put Console Wars in there. We got a bunch of different little fun little AI music in the beginning of the show. What's going on, Titan? Gamer World says I just subscribed. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Travis, to answer your question, is it worth it? I mean, if you like, did you like Lost Ark? Did you like Diablo? Do you like games like that? If you do, then I would say it hands down. Path of Exile 2 is 100% worth it. 100% worth it. But if you don't like those types of games, then I wouldn't get it. Just wait till it comes out for free and just waiting. You know what I mean? You love Path of Exile 1, then you would love Path of Exile 2. But here's the thing. I know you're getting Monster Hunter and stuff like that, right? So here's the way I'll look at it. Path of Exile 2 is in early access, and because it's in early access, why start playing the game if you're going to play Monster Hunter in just, a month or so? You know what I'm saying? Where you can wait for Path of Exile 2 to be complete and get it. Even though right now, as Eclipse says, Path of Exile 2 is probably in better shape and has more content than Diablo 4 does. So yeah, so it all depends on how much time you have to play games and stuff like that. So, I mean, right now I'm juggling between Marvel Rivals. I'm juggling between Path of Exile 2. I'm juggling. I threw that Star Trek game in there. I'm playing Indiana Jones. So there's a lot of games I'm bouncing back and forth. So, I know you play lots of different games. Let me see what else you guys are saying here. Or Kylo. Kylo says, man, if Bethesda comes out with an Oblivion remaster and Skyblivion comes out and makes a better remaster than a AAA studio, that would be wild. Well, this is going to be interesting. I was going to bring this up while we watched it, right? Because there is talks about Oblivion being remastered, right? And then Skyblivion's been in the works for years. And I find it odd because last year, when they were talking about they were changing Fallout 4, they did like the update for Fallout 4, and then London was doing their thing on the mods on Fallout 4, which then kind of wrecked them for their release of Fallout London. Now we have rumored of Oblivion remaster coming out, and then all of a sudden we have Skyblivion, which we knew of, but we start getting murmurs of the actual Oblivion remaster. You got to look at it at some point and go, this is not coincidental anymore. You know what I mean? Donkey Kong Returns soon. Can't wait. Oh, is there a rumor out that Donkey Kong's coming back? Titan says, is A-Team from Bethesda Game Studios doing a remaster though? I don't know. I'm not sure. Right now it's basically, speculation and rumor that there's a remaster coming out though. You know what I mean? It's not official that it's coming out. It's just rumored that it's coming out. Kyle says, true that. Seems like that's spiteful. That trying to stop these big mods from coming out and hurting their bottom line. Right, which we've had this conversation before. It's like, why not offer, right? Why not offer the people jobs that made Fallout London and to just make them work on the next thing? Now, obviously, if you're the modders, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you don't want to be restrained to having someone tell you what to do, and they just want to make the mods that they want to make. Travis says, 30 common practice. Remember the Metroid game, Fab did not only for Nintendo to shut him down, and then 2 months later announce the 3DS game. True. I don't think so. They would be busy with Elder Scrolls 6. True. Travis says, not a real game. What's going on, Ron Slusher? All right, let's talk about Skyblivion, right? So we have an article here. If you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. It's just a podcast. Why isn't that working? Boom. There you go. We do this Monday through Thursday. We just cover news stories, have conversation, talk to live chat. If you like it, hit that like button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a subscriber. If you'd like to come above and beyond that, become a member. We do live chat, or we do live streams. We do uploads. We do podcasts. We do gameplay. Lots of different conversations that we have each and every single day. All right. And don't forget, tonight we have the podcast Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. That's with Sarge. It's the first episode of 2025. So come on out tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, so Skyblivion only has one region, one region of the map left to finish, and we're nearly ready to release the entirely remastered Elder Scrolls game. Okay, so we're going to watch that video in a second. Okay, so the modding group has been working on Skyblivion, a remastered version of Oblivion, playable in Skyrim Special Edition since 2018. In the earnest, though, project officially started over 11 years ago. As the latest progression video explained, said video also mentions how close the completion of Skyblivion is, fast approaching the schedule of 2025 release. We're nearly ready to release the entirely remastered Elder Scrolls game, the team says. More specifically, they say, we're finalizing the world map with only one region left, the eastern border left to complete. Massive swaths of the map are ready to explore. While 93% of the cells that also make up Skyblivion landscapes are complete, only 44% of them have been nav meshed as processed in the tells the NPCs, which also parts of the terrain are traversable. Okay. These are also still ways to go in front, and this is why the team is calling the volunteers to help them get Skyblivion over the finish line. If you're also looking for experienced modders, head to volunteer sections of the website to sign up. As previously mentioned, Skyblivion won't include materials of Oblivion's expansions at launch. We're currently focused on the main game experience to ensure the release on time, and the team says once the main game of Skyblivion is released, we'll also look into how they also tackle DLCs, and we'll be sure to share more information on the next steps closer to the time. We're less than a year away from the target release of Skyblivion. I honestly just think it's really weird. Let's watch this video. I just think it's really weird that just a couple weeks ago, months ago, the murmurs started with the Oblivion remaster. So let's watch this.
Hey, you're finally awake. Welcome back to the road to Skyblivion. With 2025 on the horizon, we are nearing our final year of development. Join us as we break down our progress since last year's roadmap and outline the path to our 2025 release. In this video, we will show you exactly what has been completed.
This is insane. First of all, remember when we looked at the Fallout London mod and we're just like, this is insane. This is also insane. Again, this is not a official remaster. These are fans of Oblivion making the game back in the Skyrim, right? Hence the Skyblivion.
And what remains to ensure a 2025 release. We will also break down the volunteer skills we need to help us achieve that goal. We are always looking for new volunteers. We shall begin with our largest undertaking, the landscape. Landscaping and level design serve as the foundation for the rest of the game. It's where you'll discover new vistas and make new memories in
11 years gaming. Casualties gaming, 11 years. We just read a little article. It said 11 years they've been working on this thing.
Our updated world space. We're finalizing the world map with only the Nibene region on Cyrodiil's eastern border left to complete. Massive swaths of the map are ready for the hero of Kvatch to explore.
Travis says, I always think this is crazy. At this point, just make your own game. This is what fans are, Travis. This is what people that are passionate about something that just want more of it, right? These are the people that started creating stories in Star Wars and made their own stories within Star Wars, right? Like, these are the people that go to cosplay events and they just love the world. Whatever IP that is, this is what fans do.
Explore.
It's not about making your own game. It's about wanting more in the game. Like, you love this game so much, but now you're doing it in the new engine.
Despite Oblivion's map being nearly a third larger than Skyrim's, we've worked to make sure the entire map is bespoke with handmade details throughout.
Travis says, I mean, a fan of Mass Effect, but I'd rather make something that I make money on. And that's the difference between fans and people that want to make money. This is just a passion project. These are just people that love to make more stuff that they love, right? It's right, Titan. It's not about the money, Travis. If it was about money, they go make their own game. It's about the passion.
Cyrodiil is divided into 9 unique regions, with their own biomes, flora and fauna, and natural features. Here are each of the regions and their current progress. Starting us off is the Gold Coast, which has had all 526 cells landscaped, and 34% of the region nav-meshed. The highlight of this region is the finalized city of Anvil, which has been re-envisioned to realize its original...
They're going to have a hard time shutting it down when they're not charging anything. Like, you can just go to a third-party site and mod it.
...concept art. The Colovian Highlands also have all 422 cells landscaped, with 81% of the region nav-meshed. Next, we have the Fall Forest and
That's crazy.
Heartlands regions, which have been entirely landscaped with all 405 cells landscaped, and 20...
Here's one thing that if I was the company, let's say you're doing it like you said earlier, right, in chat. You're Bethesda, you're making the remastered of Oblivion, right? And this comes out, and this looks better and plays better than the actual people that made the game. That would look really bad on the people that made the game, right?
6% of the area nav-meshed. Out of all the regions, this is likely the most iconic, and I'm sure you'll immediately recognize the improvements.
No, Fallout London is free. If you wanted to donate, you could go to like their Patreon or something like that, but you can literally play the game for free.
Over the Oblivion original. As we continue to revamp the Imperial City...
No, you didn't have to pay for it. London is free.
Parts of the Imperial Isle will also require an overhaul to match the new and improved cityscape. The majestic Great Forest with its towering redwood trees is fully complete, with all 460 cells finished.
They had to delay it, Travis, because when Fallout 4 came out, it fucked up the coding with their game, because their game is built on top of the Fallout 4. So when they came out with Fallout 4's update, it screwed them over for 3 months, and they had to go back and check all the codes, which just shows you that they have more integrity than most of these companies that release a AAA game in the world today, where it's broke, buggy, and unfinished. These people that are taking their time, not these people, right? But the people that made Fallout London actually took their time to go back and make sure the game would work properly.
58% of the Great Forest nav-meshed, including the city of Coral, which lies in the center of the region. The Gerald and Valus Mountains have recently had all 517 cells completed, with 20% of the mountains nav-meshed. We've also completed all work on the city of Bruma, as well as the iconic Cloud Ruler Temple, which has been expanded and further fortified. The West Weald is finished with all of its 284 cells completely
landscaped. This looks gorgeous, by the way.
And about 88% of the area nav-meshed. This includes Skingrad and the sprawling farms and
I haven't played Oblivion, like, God, what, 20 years?
Surrounding it.
When did Oblivion come out?
Swampy bogs of Blackwood have been entirely landscaped, with all 803 cells implemented, with its navmesh progress sitting at around 60%. Since last year, we've nearly doubled our progress in the Nibene Valley, with 268 out of 300 cells now complete, and navmeshing progress at 75%. The only thing left to do here is finish the city of Bravil, which is shaping up nicely. Currently, Nibene Basin
No, it wasn't 1980. Settle down, Kraken.
is around 50% of the way there, with 289 of the 674 cells completed. Navmesh is yet to begin. Outside these specific regions, we have completed 321 cells for the purpose of expanding the map and
Yeah, I was playing Oblivion. I was playing Oblivion on the Apple IIc.
altering terrain to better accommodate expanded cities and natural formations, and generally improve the experience for players while exploring the map. In total, there are 4,926 cells in Cyrodiil, with 4,603, or 93%,
They're so close for completing.
complete. Of these cells, 2,198, or 44% of the world space, is navmeshed, meaning that
Now, just to make a joke here, if this was a regular company making this game, they'd be like, "Oh, it's completed. It's close enough. Let's just release it and charge $120."
NPCs and quests will not function as intended outside of those regions. The Navmesh team is always looking for new recruits to help move things along. We've been hard at work since last year's update, making progress on our interiors. From castles and dungeons to shops and player homes, we're getting closer to total completion.
That looks like a complete game to me. That looks like a complete game. Bethesda would say ship it.
Under our current schedule, we're prioritizing quest locations which require more time and concepting, compared to generic interiors, which can be completed substantially faster. Additionally, as we work to complete the Imperial City, which contains more interiors than any other city, additional interiors will continue to be completed. We also have 11 of 20 of the unique world spaces completed. These large regions each contain unique areas of landscape and offer more diverse experiences than the general workspace. 3 out of 11 Oblivion realms are completed. However, if time permits, we will add more to diversify the list of random realms the player may enter when closing an Oblivion gate. In total, 19% of our interior
Right, Sarge. Right, Sarge says, imagine caring enough to actually tell you what you are doing or what they are doing. Right.
areas are navmeshed, with 12% of our unique world spaces navmeshed. 3D. 3D objects fill Skyblivion, from the fallen trees underfoot to the armor protecting your adventurer and the trolls obstructing your path. Every object, item, and creature helps to bring Cyrodiil to life. While most object groups are complete or nearly complete, some bottlenecking affects the output of other departments. For example, if we have not yet remade the architecture set for an interior cell, the level design team cannot progress on rebuilding that area in the game. Most importantly, without remaking all 2,508 3D objects, we cannot meet the legal requirements to release Skyblivion. So plants, which at 74 out of 118 items remade represent the least complete of our 3D groups, still need additional help. If you are a 3D artist interested in botany and plants, we ask that you please apply to volunteer. We need your help. As a reminder, we are legally required to remake or replace all assets from Oblivion.
Legally required. Why is that? Why do you think that is? They're legally required.
There are some items we have been able to borrow from Skyrim, but many are not suitable for implementation in Skyblivion. This leaves us with a long list of items left to create. Our 3D team is still hard at work, but we are always looking for new talent.
Is it something that they have to redo it? They can't just use the assets. They have to make it from scratch. Is that why they actually wouldn't get in trouble? Because they literally made it?
Quests. With a beautiful remastered world space to explore and updated weapons.
It is,
and
right? So you
armor
can't
with
use
which
the
to
assets. So they literally built this game from scratch. Holy Christ. So like what Travis said, just build a different, build your own game. But the passion of these people. And here's the way I look at it, right? Here's the way I look at it. Because these people are doing what they're doing, they might be ex-developers, they might be inspiring developers, they could put this and go, yeah, we worked on this. We worked on Skyblivion. I worked on this for 3 years, 5 years and something. And they can get themselves a nice job with a big company if they wanted to after this. This is a good resume builder, right? This is fantastic. I love that people are so passionate like this.
defend yourself against the monsters. It's time to earn your title as the hero of Kvatch. Last year we had over 100 quests yet to be started. Today, there are only 6 left untouched.
Wow.
Meaning most of Oblivion's near 200 quests have either been commenced or completed.
So they have 194 quests done.
Quests go through multiple stages of testing. Those that are untouched and whose code has simply been automatically converted over from Oblivion are untested. From there, they enter the work in progress stage, where we edit and implement the quest. Once functional in our testing, they enter their first pass. After another round of testing, they are finally in the second pass stage and implemented into Skyblivion. Skyblivion's nearly 200 quests are broken up into the following quest lines. The Fighters Guild quest line is the most complete of all of our quest lines, with 20 of 21 in the second pass stage. The Mages Guild quest lines have 20 out of 22 quests completed as a first pass. The quest line for the Thieves Guild has 15 of 16 quests completed as a first pass. The Dark Brotherhood has all 24 of its quests completed as a first pass. The main quest line has 18 of its 20 quests completed as a first pass. A large portion of our side quests have received a first pass, with 45 out of 46 of them in working order. All 15 of our Daedric quests have received a first pass. The 2 arena quests have both received their first pass, and all 21 master training quests have received a first pass.
I love how they're saying all of this stuff, being so transparent, where obviously you don't get this with regular AAA studios, right?
Finally, the world space wouldn't be complete without Oblivion's iconic music. All original tracks have been carried over, as well as 24 new tracks. 1 new track for each of the 9 regions of Cyrodiil, 3 new dungeon exploration tracks, 3 new night exploration tracks, 2 new boss fight themes, and 3 new atmospheric tracks that can be heard while delving through the Oblivion realms. A note on Shivering Isles and the other big DLC.
Titan says, AAA, first pass, release it. Yeah, they released it before that first pass.
We are currently focused on the main game experience to ensure it is released on time. Once the main game of Skyblivion is released, we will look into how we can tackle DLCs, and we will be sure to share
DLCs? They're going to go do the DLCs.
More information on our next steps closer to the time. We're less than a year away from our target release of Skyblivion. We hope that this updated roadmap gives you a clear understanding of our current progress and what's ahead for us this coming year. Skyblivion officially started over 11 years ago, when a group of modders met through online forums. But the Skyblivion you know today began in earnest in 2018. Since then, the team has grown into numerous departments, and we are nearly ready to release an entirely remastered Elder Scrolls game.
I'm not sure, Jones.
Closer than ever before, we still need some more help. We're asking the Elder Scrolls modding community to come together to help us complete this final leg of our mighty task. If you'd like to lend a hand in the final stretch of Skyblivion's development, we're seeking the following key roles. If you or someone you know is skilled in UI vector implementation and can aid in implementing the new user interface, it would free up our tech team to work on other systems. Whether you've worked on house mods, new dungeons, or any interior in between, we'd love additional support for our interiors department. Have you nav-meshed before? We need your help finishing the navigation meshing throughout Cyrodiil. Designed, implemented, and released new quests for Skyrim? You're just what we're looking for. Apply to support our quest department. Have a knack for the technical use of the creation kit? We're seeking creation kit generalists to help throughout multiple departments. If you've ever redesigned how Skyrim's NPCs work with one another and their routines, we're looking for additional specialists who are familiar with AI packages to make Skyblivion's world as living and immersive as possible. If you have any of the skills above, consider applying to support the project at skyblivion.com/volunteer. We can't wait to show off more of Skyblivion over the next year as we finalize the Imperial City and the last remaining areas of the game. It's been a long ride, but the end is in sight.
There you go. You can go to skyblivion.com/volunteer to help them out if you actually know what you're doing. So, just saw the leak, that Fantastic Four. Yeah, we have a thing. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're actually talking about that right now, Mr. Luke. So Skyblivion's done, and then we have a leak going on to Marvel Rivals. If you're interested in Marvel Rivals, we're gonna follow Marvel Rivals. I'm a Marvel fan. Okay. So here's the leak that's coming out. Fantastic Four has been data mined. It also the whole Fantastic Four crew is going to be in season 1. Now we don't know if it's all 4 dropping like day 1. Or if it's 2 and 2, and then that's the whole season. You know what I mean? I personally think they should do 4, and then 4 other characters or whatever. You know where I stand. I've been saying it for well over a year for different games. I was like, they should be dropping multiple characters per season. And then when Marvel Rivals first showed themselves, I was like, they need to have 40 characters at launch. Okay? Which, it's pretty close, because in season 1... okay, if they do 4 in the beginning and then let's say 4 at the end, okay, that would be 8 more on top of the 33 that are in the game, and 8 plus 3, right? That would make 41 characters in season 1, because right now we're in season 0, right? This is like technically so they would have 41 characters at launch, which would make me very happy if they're giving us that, right? So let's look at this video here. Okay. You can look at all the descriptions down below for the videos and articles. So he talks about the how it was leaked, or how it was found out, and what's happening with the season 1. So let's take a look at this.
Season 1 of Marvel Rivals has now been leaked with the new map and the new heroes, and it might surprise quite a few of you because it surprised me, but let's jump straight into it. Today, XOX Leak just shared an image where you can see Season 1's official artwork for Marvel Rivals, and as you can see, we'll break down this image completely, but at first glance, it's the Fantastic Four, but it's all 4 of them coming.
His microphone's like popping a little bit there.
To the game in season 1. So let's break things down. You can see the Fantastic Four on this new New York map,
can't hear as much
and
as
I've talked about that based on the leaks. I'll quickly catch you guys up if you've missed it, but the Fantastic Four are all going to be coming to the game in season 1, because this is clearly the official poster for season 1. It's been leaked from a Chinese website or something, but it's clearly for season 1, where we'll be getting Human Torch, The Thing, Mr. Fantastic, and Sue Storm. Originally from the leaks, we thought the Fantastic Four might be broken up, and maybe...
I thought they were going to bring them until season 2, because season 2 is around the time of the Fantastic Four movie. So it's interesting that they're not doing a crossover, like a promotional thing, but they are putting them in the game before the movie comes out.
2 of them would come in Season 1 and maybe 2 more later down the line because the leaks weren't consistent between all of the heroes, but it's confirmed that all 4 of them are dropping in Season 1, including Sue Storm, who none of us really had any leaks about. Now, if you're wondering what the heroes are like, I have covered this in a video already, but the Thing will be a Vanguard, and then Human Torch will be a duelist, along with Mr. Fantastic, he will also be a duelist, and then Sue Storm will be a strategist. Now, the other 3 heroes besides Sue Storm have been completely leaked. All of their abilities have been showcased. We have Human Torch, whose primary fire is the fire cluster that allows him to launch splittable fireballs, and a movement ability called Plasma Body, where he can hold left shift to enter a...
I think it's pretty funny that he used footage of Mario 8-bit to shoot the fireballs, not any other Mario.
fireballs, and a movement ability called Plasma Body, where he can hold left shift to enter a state of accelerated ascent, allowing you to fly around much faster. He also has the Blazing Blast, his right-click ability, which is the heart of his kit. It allows him to launch a fireball to create a flame field at the targeted area.
Gonna be cool.
And this flame field will become useful, especially with his E ability, the Pyro Prison, which will connect flame fields to form a firewall that deal burning damage to enemies, which is great for area denial. And he also has his flaming...
Can I just say, I love the fact that... No hate here. No hate here. He literally took a fire image and placed it on the ground, right? But it still has the... It still has... Look, if you zoom in,
enemies, which is...
It still has the lettering on the fire. He didn't even use the rights to it. He just grabbed the one that's like off of like Google GIFs or whatever and just put it right in there.
It's great for area denial, and he also has his Flaming Meteor F ability, where he dives towards the ground and stuns nearby enemies. One rendition of this ability also activated his flame field and ignited them, and he is a 3-star difficulty hero. And then his ultimate Supernova will transform all of his flame fields into fire tornadoes, which will deal constant damage.
Yeah, the team up with Storm, with the fire tornadoes and stuff, will be pretty interesting.
And with that, he does have a team up with Storm, where basically his ultimate can overcharge her ultimate, making it a fire tornado, and the same will work both ways. Honestly, a really cool kit for Human Torch. Then we had Mr. Fantastic, who was one of the first heroes leaked, so it does make sense that he is dropping in Season 1. Now, he was going to be a duelist, and he still is going to be a duelist, even though many people think his kit could be a Vanguard. He's not. It looks like he's still going to be a duelist, with his main primary attack being the Elastic Punch.
That would be funny, Water, if they bring in Chris Evans as Johnny Storm,
where he stretches out and punches enemies. So it'll be a melee, but it will have quite a bit of range.
I mean, why not? Why not? Because he is in the universe, right? These are all crossing from different multiverses.
He also has his left shift ability, Reflexive Rubber, where he stretches his body to absorb damage before launching the stored damage.
That would be one I would never buy, Ron. I would never buy that. If Pedro Pascal's face is in this game, I would never buy it.
Damage in a targeted direction. So really nice counter ability there. And that's why he does feel like a bit of a Vanguard. It feels like he could tank the shots, but this is just one ability. He also has Flexible Elongation, where you select a target and then dash to them, dealing damage to enemies and granting bonus health to allies, which again sounds quite Vanguard-like, but he's a duelist. And then we have the right-click Rubber Grip, where he extends his arms forward to entangle hit enemies, and then you can press primary fire to select and yank 2 more enemies.
Yeah, see, this is going to be interesting.
Passive ability, Elastic Strength, means that when he uses his skills, he generates elasticity, which boosts attack power. And if you reach full elasticity, it triggers an inflated state that restores health and boosts even more damage. And
see, so we were talking about this stuff earlier, like certain characters. I was like, if you bring Doc Ock in, Doc Ock could be like what they're already using basically for what Groot, his arms extend, and also like Venom, the way his back, it comes off his back and stuff. Like if they put a Doc Ock character, they already have the mechanics inside the game. Him blowing up like this is like the Hulk, and the animation and whatnot the assets are already there. So it's cool. It's cool how they can implement these characters and give them certain abilities for things that are already in the game.
That's where this leaked image of his model, where he does look a lot like a Vanguard, came from, because it's his inflated state when you reach max elasticity, which will turn you into a bit of a powerhouse. And then his ultimate, the Brainiac Bounce, is a leap and smash which knocks back enemies within range, and if you hit an enemy, you can leap again up to 6 times, which sounds like it might be as—
Shut up, Travis. They are not looking at Pedro Pascal as Shepard. Please tell me that's fake.
annoying as the Winter Soldier. And then the Thing, who was the real Vanguard, has 2 attacks. His primary fire is the Combination Punch, which are the quick and continuous punches, and he also has the Thunderbolt Punch, where he delivers a devastating punch, which is one that you probably have to charge up more. He also has a charge ability called Furious Charge, where he continuously charges forward, lifting up enemies in your path, leaving—
So basically his charge attack is Squirrel Girl's ultimate with the squirrels. Right? Do you know what I mean?
behind a seismic zone that prohibits displacement, meaning people in that zone probably can't be knocked back or pushed away, which will keep your team safe. He also has battlefield support, where he jumps towards your teammates and adds damage reduction to them and himself. And also his passive Solid as a Rock makes him immune to enemy knockback and other displacement effects. So he's a proper tank, well grounded, and he can support his team. And then you have his ultimate Slam moment, which will probably actually be called Clobbering Time, where he uses tremendous force to knock all enemies in front of you into the air. And then we had Sue Storm, who unfortunately we didn't have the leaked ability set for. It's pretty obvious she'll be able to go invisible. She's a strategist, so she'll be able—
They never show her. She's just invisible. Well, that's an easy character to put in. You just don't see her.
to heal you, which is quite useful if she can also go invisible. Just like Loki, she can stay safe, especially when getting dove by any dive characters during the game. She'll also probably be able to protect her teammates and herself with her bubbles, but that's all we know. But what's
They're like, look at this awesome skin for Sue Storm. You're like, she's invisible.
great is it's now confirmed that
Man, that's the best skin of her so far.
Sue Storm will be dropping in Season 1, just like the rest of the Fantastic Four, so we have her ability set to be excited about. Now, in the image for Season 1, if you—
Nate says, I've been playing Injustice 2 lately. Well, ever since I've seen the Superman trailer. This has to be the best storytelling fighting game ever. Nate, thank you very much for the continued support for the 4 months. Appreciate it.
If you take a look, it takes place on New York, which confirms that New York is the new Season 1 map, which again, I've already talked about because we had leaks that shared a bit more about New York. And you can see the Fantastic Four building in the background.
I am happy that they're bringing new maps in. More maps. I'm kind of getting old, tired of the same maps.
Now, I don't know if that's definitely going to be part of the map, or
I wonder how they're going to rotate them in, though. Are they gonna rotate them in and sneak him in the rotation already, or is the new map just going to go at the bottom of the list?
if this is just part of the artwork for Season 1, as of course the Fantastic Four are coming to the game. But if you look in the background, New York is taken over by Dracula, and it's been doomed into an eternal night, where you can see the sky is red. It looks like a lot of chaos is going on, and Dracula's going to be the main kind of—
Is this Marvel's Midnight Sun? I never even got to this point fighting Dracula there. I still have to go back and complete that game as well.
enemy for Season 1, as it seems. And that's why we were expecting to see Blade, who's a leaked duelist, to come to the game in Season 1 to defeat Dracula. But maybe the case will be that Blade will come to the game at the end of Season 1 to kill Dracula to free New York from the Eternal Night. That would be quite cool lore-wise, and that could happen. But let's talk about the leaked heroes that were meant to come in Season 1. Ultron. Ultron has been leaked by so many leakers.
Yeah, we're definitely getting Ultron. He's a healing character.
Because
he's gonna have like flying robots around that heal you.
His whole ability set is here. He's going to be—
So, Rage of Ultron. Summon Ultron drones. Okay. Damage enemies and healing allies. Quickly fly directions and movement, and then enter to free flight mode. Command a giant drone to follow an ally consistently healing allies in radius with additional healing for designated ally. Summon drones to grant bonus health to allies within range, centered on himself, an ally marked, okay, and then hold space to fall slowly.
a strategist, which is awesome, but he was leaked to be in Season 1. Now, is this still going to be the case if we're getting the Fantastic Four, which is 4 new heroes?
I'm surprised at the end of Season 1 we're not getting Doom. They gotta put Doctor Doom in the game, right?
Heroes at the start of the new season? Well, maybe. People have been theorizing that we're going to get 6 new heroes in Season 1, and I wouldn't put it past Marvel Rivals to drop that many heroes.
I think we're getting more. I think we're getting more than 6 heroes. I'm going to say 8. I'm saying 8. We get 4 in the beginning of the season and 4 in the second half of the season.
Especially since Ultron is a strategist, and the game definitely needs more vanguards and strategists, so dropping Ultron in Season 1 could definitely balance things out, as 2 of the Fantastic Four are duelists. But either way, that's only speculation, but this is now official, because this...
Although, I did say 6, and I gave a reason why I said 6, because there's 6 characters, 6 hero spots on a team. And I said you could put 6 characters 3 and 3, or drop all 6 at the same time, that when people are playing, you're not fighting over the same character, and you each have a new character that you can use. Just saying, I do have that.
This looks like the official artwork for Marvel Rivals Season 1, where the Fantastic Four are confirmed, the New York map is real, and I am super excited for it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Now you're much more up to date with what's dropping in Season 1, and I can't believe I woke up to this news. I thought it would be a little while longer. This is a great way to start off 2025, and the Fantastic Four are going to be awesome. So I'll see you guys in the next one.
Well, if I had to take a guess, Doom probably won't be in until the end of the entire year, because he's the main villain. He's the reason that the game exists right now in the storyline, right? The multiverses that's happening, and he's collapsing them or whatever. Okay, so I would assume with the comics that we have that you're unlocking. I haven't read all the passages and stuff yet, but I'm assuming that at the end of all 4 comics, or 5 comics, because it's 0 and then 4 more, I think that he's the main villain, and then we'll unlock him at the end, and then the next year 2, they'll have another story going on with another bad guy. If that's Galactus, is that somebody else they have planned? Do you know what I mean?
We got even more leaked info, so another video is coming pretty soon. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
So there you go. We got those things happening in Marvel Rivals. And then we have a video here about Marvel Rivals is a wake-up call, okay, from Legendary Drops. So we're going to watch that in a second. Yeah, I think, look, very smart for them to do what they're doing as far as putting multiple characters in per season. You guys were like, oh, they're going to put like 1 character. I was like, no, not in a game like this. They have to put multiple characters in. I'm glad they're at least bringing us the Fantastic Four. But again, I think 6 would be minimum, because then everyone that wants to be a new character can play a new character on a team, right? Travis says 30, to be honest, 30, they have like 2,000 or more characters to put in, so we'll take anyone but Snowflake and Safe Space. The fact that they have so many characters, and this is why I'm saying that this is why they need to put 4, 6, 8 characters per season, because even if it's just 4 seasons, and let's say they do 4 characters, right, for 4 seasons, that's only 16 characters for the year. In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing, especially if the game only stays around for 2 years, 3 years, right? Even if you did that for 5 years, you're only getting around 70 characters, okay? And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of characters they can bring in and just keep the game going and keep it relevant. I would rather them put in more characters and the game lasts 3 to 5 years than put in very few characters and last 2 to 3 years, you know? That's just me. What's going on, Mo? This game has legs, no question. I think if done correctly, I think they can fumble the ball. But if they keep doing what they're doing, I think it has legs. Krebsy brought it up last night. He's like, I don't think it has legs. He says 2-3 years, I think. I think it could definitely go 3 to 5. If done correctly, right? If done correctly. All right. Let's watch this. It's about 31 minutes long.
Marvel Rivals is a reckoning. 20 million players in under 2 weeks. That is insane.
This video, by the way, is 8 days old, 9 days old. 9 days old. Oh, wow. 231,000 views, and he's got 231,000 subscribers. That means everyone has watched it. That's a good ratio right there. It's a damn good ratio.
On. It's light, it's fun, it's flashy, it has some of the best character designs I have ever seen in any Marvel property, period. And on top of that, it has a battle pass that doesn't expire. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for this lesson that you are teaching to the industry, because they need to learn it. And that's exactly what this game is doing right now, because this entire year, we have heard the same line of garbage towed across the entire industry as to why live service games have been failing. It's not the character designs. The people who are talking about that are toxic. It's not that we don't understand what the players want. It's that there's too much competition.
No, the character designs are the reason games succeed or don't succeed. Not the only reason, but it's a major reason.
In the industry right now, it's not the gameplay. It's because people just aren't, interested in hero shooters anymore. Really.
No, this is what Overwatch to me is one of the biggest fumbles. Okay, Overwatch 2, I should say, because they sold it on a bill of goods that it was going to be better than Overwatch 1, and then they just gave us Overwatch 1 again. They maddened it.
Is that what it looks like to you? All of this back and forth while feigning ignorance, and we've had some incredible games this year. We've had some incredibly popular games this year. But we haven't had that game that stood as definitive proof as to what the players have been asking for a long time. We haven't had that, 20 million players in under 2 weeks kind of proof. And that's exactly what Marvel Rivals is.
Yeah, he makes really good content, Eclipse. I reached out to him to see if he would come on the podcast. He's never got back to me. I reached out to a lot of people that just want to come on and chat. He seems like a really down-to-earth person.
It's a very fun game. And that's the main reason why people are playing it. It came out of left field for me. I'm actually a bit shocked to see. Actually, I'm not that shocked to see how popular the game is, because after playing it, you can see why everybody's playing it right now. But I think that this game stands as a lesson for the rest of the industry. And I think in a lot of ways, the people that were talking about live service games this year and why they were failing, they might need to go into hiding after this one. So you could use today's sponsor, Delete Me. So let's talk about something really important, your personal privacy. If you've ever Googled yourself like I have, you know how much of your personal data
advertisement
is
up to this point.
Now let's get to it.
All right.
In a year in which we've seen many live service games fail, and a few of them even shut down within the same year that they were released, one now stands as the crowned king of 2024. The list of excuses has grown incredibly long. The players are sick of being ignored, and in many ways, for those players who have been mistreated by other games, studios, and publishers, and subsequently lost interest and hope in those games, Marvel Rivals stands as their new refuge. Right at the end of the year...
Here's the thing. This is what I said before Marvel Rivals came out. I really wish there was a PvE game mode inside of this, because Overwatch said they were going to put PvE content in their game, and then they didn't. And before the game even came out, before the beta came out, the alpha, whatever that we played, I said that they needed to put, and obviously they said they're not putting a PvE, but it could come down the line, Danny Koo said. But they needed to put, in my opinion, a PvE kind of content like Overwatch was going to do with Overwatch 2, because they would have capitalized. So many people were hyped about Overwatch 2 having some sort of PvE content in there, and then they just said they scrapped it. And if Marvel came out and said, well, here you go, we have it, it would have just been the bay of those guys just pouring salt on them, right? And it would have been perfect, because they would have came in, swooped in, and said, well, we have it. And then Overwatch would have put it in, because they had competition that was putting it in. You know what I mean?
In the same week as the release of Path of Exile 2's early access, the game climbed to 480,000 concurrent players on Steam, while pulling similar numbers across PlayStation and Xbox. The developer announced in just under 3 days that the game had reached 10 million players. Just over a week later, they would update that number to 20 million players.
Yep.
Regardless of it being free to play or having the Marvel
So within 10 days, they made 20 million.
IP, while those are definitely factors here, we've seen plenty of games, especially live service games, fail to garner any level of success. However, Marvel Rivals seems to have something that everyone else is missing.
Fun, and the IP that people want to know about, right? Marvel has 80 years of building characters, and we love the characters. We love the cartoons when we were kids. We love the comics. We love the movies, right? This is what it has going for it.
Now, I've been busy with other content and other games. However, whenever I get the chance to, I've been logging in and playing with friends. This game feels incredible to play, and that's something to take note of. That is incredibly important here.
Yeah, but Jason, you notice a lot of people don't talk about it because we shouldn't have to talk about how smooth it ran because that should be the standard, right? Like, it was flawless, basically, when it came out, as far as launching with smooth. But no one talks about it because that should be the norm. No one should have to talk about how smooth it came out. We bring it up because of all the non-smooth games that come out when they launch and that have so many problems.
Especially in this genre, there are very few performance issues. The controls feel fantastic. Every character feels entirely distinct from the other. We aren't beating the accusations here as the great and wise Mike Ybarra so brazenly.
Yeah, we covered this. Mike Ybarra saying that, Widowmaker in Overwatch versus Black Widow. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. We all know that Widowmaker was influenced by Black Widow. Stop it. Stop it.
Pointed out on Twitter and then later was shamed into deleting the comment, Marvel Rivals is essentially Overwatch. But there is a lot more here than just a fresh coat of paint. Marvel Rivals is a live service competitive multiplayer game developed by NetEase, offering players the opportunity to fight in an Overwatch-style game using iconic Marvel superheroes and villains. This game is the quintessential hero shooter, offering a roster of beloved characters, including the likes of Spider-Man.
Oh, and can I say, like, this is a copy of Overwatch, but Overwatch is a copy of Team Fortress 2, right? And Team Fortress 2 had a thing, and then Overwatch came in and made it a little bit better. And then Overwatch got overtaken by Marvel Rivals now because they made Marvel Rivals just a little bit better than Overwatch, right? Because, look, Apple didn't create the phone, but they made the phone better. You see what I'm saying? And that's what competition does, right? You don't have to come and create the thing, but you got to make the thing better. And I think with the team ups and with the IP, it's just a match made in heaven.
And Magneto, Storm, Iron Man, Captain America, and more. What really sets Marvel Rivals apart from many of the other live service games is its commitment to staying true to that Marvel brand, offering a staggering 33 heroes at launch, all with abilities and...
I'll say it 1,000 times. God, I wish Marvel's Avengers had the look and style of this game.
Skills that genuinely suit that character, combined with arguably some of the best character designs in all of Marvel. I think that's where Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League really went wrong. They didn't stay on brand. They forced the characters and the setting into a looter-shooter mold for profit purposes. None of the characters really used any of their trademark abilities, and everyone used generic weapons and guns to fuel that looter-shooter formula. In Marvel Rivals, you are playing as those heroes, fulfilling roles that they are best suited for and using abilities that make sense for that character. What's really interesting with Marvel Rivals, and this is pretty much across the board, is there is a much higher skill ceiling due to the depth of mechanics between each characters and how they synergize together. Characters in the game have unique team-up.
That's what I said, Jason. You must have just got in. You must have literally just got in because that's exactly what I just said 3 minutes ago. 3 minutes ago, I said, I think, and I said this months before we even played the beta and alpha for this game. I said, imagine if they came in and said, well, we're putting the PvE mode that Overwatch didn't.
Up abilities, passive bonuses, and activated abilities that can only be unlocked when you're actually pairing them with specific allies. For example,
I think they put it in. If Marvel Rivals wants to just squish Overwatch 2, put the PvE in. Put the PvE story mode in, and Overwatch 2 will go by. No one will play it. Ever.
Warlock with Mantis or Star-Lord, well, he'll grant both of them a free revive upon death. This is something that
I don't even think you need 40 hours. I don't think you need 40 hours. You can literally... God, they could make so much money off of this, Water. Imagine every season they come in, they put the Fantastic Four in, right? And then all of a sudden there's a comic that you're doing the stories through the comics of PvE, and it's just the Fantastic Four story. And then all of a sudden you want to buy the Thor story. I said the same fucking thing for Marvel's Avengers, right? Each story comes in and you buy the comic, and it comes with the skins. It comes with the characters things, right? So not only are you buying like Thor's skin, but you're buying his story, his PvE story. You don't have to buy it if you don't want it. But if you buy it, you get skins and emotes and all this other stuff, and you get to play single player. It's a comic book. You're literally selling comic books, but interactive comic books.
I think really adds a little bit of extra flavor that this genre has been missing. That depth and flexibility doesn't just end with team-ups, you see it across the individual skills of the heroes themselves. In Overwatch, as an example, Lucio can pump it.
Right, Eclipse. Like a 5-hour thing. It doesn't need to be like a 20, 30-hour campaign. It's just missions. It's just little stories. It's completing the comic of that character.
Up, boost speed and healing, and he can knock enemies back, and honestly, that's about it. His closest comparison in Marvel Rivals, Luna Snow can use precision to heal her allies, deal damage. She can give out shields. She can deal bonus damage with ice shards and slow enemies down. She can empower her abilities to pierce through enemies and allies.
Like, because think about that. Think about that for a second. It would be a shit ton of content. There's 33 characters in the game right now. Okay? If you like Luna Snow, then you could purchase the comic of Luna Snow. It comes with skins. Right? $23 for just her content with the skins plus the single player campaign type of thing for 3-4 hours of campaign. And I'll do that 33 times. Come on, bro. That's 120 hours. Right? It's 136 hours of content if it was just 3 to 4 hours per character.
And she has an ultimate that can either heal or increase.
And you're paying $20 for the comic, the emotes, the skins, right? And the interactiveness of it. That's like $2,000.
Damage. There's a lot more in the way of skill expression and role flexibility across the entire game. Now, what that means in gameplay is that while Marvel Rivals is a bit less accessible than Overwatch is, it has a higher barrier to entry for competitive play due to the depth of the character roster and their abilities, but a meta is much harder to pin down in a game like this. There is a lot more in the way of individual skill expression between each character, and by extension, every match feels much more fresh because not every player plays the same hero the same way.
Right.
I spent most of my time playing as Psylocke. I love this character. I love her in the Marvel Universe. I absolutely love her design in this game, and she's incredibly fun in Marvel Rivals. I think that in many ways, this game's biggest strength isn't about how characters fulfill their roles. It's about how the game provides this layer of player agency that I otherwise don't feel like I get in other games. I'm not a frontliner. I don't really like being in the mix. I like sneaking around, peppering enemies with a bit of damage from the sidelines to support other characters. I ignore the objectives and catch players who freshly respawn that are trying to get back to their
Let's go on
team, and
PS5.
then I'll drop in out of nowhere with an ultimate to take out a bunch of enemies and disrupt the point, and then fade back into the shadows. I want everyone to forget that I'm even there until it's too late. Marvel Rivals has the vision to allow players to be able to play their own role rather than the one that the game assigns to them.
Right.
The minute that this game came out, I started getting Discord notifications. I got messages from friends. Have you heard about the game? Are you going to play the game? Do you know anybody else that's playing the game? And that is incredibly special for a game like this because that's exactly what the developer wants, and that's exactly what a community.
Think how cool it would be also if they did the PvE content where you did like a 4-player co-op mission or a 6-player co-op mission where you could do boss fights. Imagine having a battle where you go up against Galactus, right? You do like little strikes or whatever. Come on, man. What about if you did some content where sorry, I didn't mean to pause you on your face. That's even worse. All right, we'll put it there. What about if you did some content where instead of like there's strikes or whatnot, but play the character and you beat certain amount of characters and it opens up different things, right? Or different boss fights. I don't want to say like raids, but you could like use the characters and see if you can go through like a gauntlet type of thing. I don't know. There's so much they could do.
The game assigns to them. The minute that this game came out, I started getting Discord notifications. I got messages from friends. Have you heard about the game? Are you going to play?
No, I don't want the MMO of it. I mean, I love the MMO back in the day, right, Worlds? But what I'm saying is I don't need my character to level up, right? I don't need my character to level up. I don't need to have Hulk level up and become more powerful. The skills that he already has and the skills all the other characters have, just play a mission and you have to try to beat the boss. And you guys are 6 heroes trying to beat this boss. And then all of a sudden they bring another boss in for a different season. Like, that's it. And then you can have little things in the background. Beat the boss with this character. Beat the boss with that character. Beat the boss with this. There's just so many things they could do. And they don't have to do so complicated things. Bring a boss fight in. Let me have a one-on-one fight with a character. You know what I
Play
mean?
the game? Do you know
Just with the
anybody else
sets that they already have in the game.
that's playing the game? And that is incredibly special for a game like this, because that's exactly what the developer wants, and that's exactly what a community wants for this kind of game, because you want more people that are playing it. You want people to go out and try to find more people to play the game with. And it just goes to show just how popular this game has become in such a short amount of time. And I think
It is a lot more fun to play with people. I played with Mr. Luke the other day, and a couple of his buds, and I didn't play it up to that point with anybody except for randos. And when you're playing with people that you're actually talking to and playing, much better game.
I think it's going to continue to grow in popularity because it is a really fun game, and a lot of people are really liking it right now. And in a lot of ways, it reminds me of the launch of the original Overwatch. And not just because of all the images people have been sharing online. What is up with people's obsession with wanting to put a big, I'm just not even going to touch that.
Overwatch has got so much porn for for Overwatch characters.
That one. It feels like you're eating popcorn. Just one more. And the next thing you know,
Good analogy. Yeah. I want to play one more. I just want to play one more match.
hours have gone by. You've been swapping.
It's like popping a can of Pringles.
Between these different matches where it's chaotic and people are still trying to learn how to play the game. Everybody's kind of out for themselves, and then you drop into a match that almost feels surgical, where everybody understands their role, they know what they need to do, they understand the maps, and it just feels great to play. And I think if there was one thing that I had to point out and say, like, this is Marvel Rivals' biggest strength, and it's even bigger than the Marvel IP itself, and it's just that the game feels really good to play. And that's something that I think a lot of studios have gotten wrong over the last couple of years.
Imagine making a game fun, and it also looks good.
There's no hit registration problems. There's no netcode issues. There's no disconnects. I haven't had any.
Yeah, there's no X-Defiant netcode issues. It runs, it works. Imagine.
Problems with FPS or anything like that. The menus are really easy to navigate. The UI is super clean. I don't have any problem with being able to tell allies from enemies in the game. I can't tell you how many times I've ran into games like that. And yeah, it just feels really good to play. The animations are solid. The controls feel really good. The character abilities make sense and look really cool, but nothing.
Yeah, the small detail of the characters' abilities make sense. And they're also, again, everyone's first initial thing is this person's OP, this person's too weak. But now we're like 2 or 3 weeks in, and people are like, yeah, no, that person's not OP. Like, it's a really good balance. Really, really good balance.
Ever really, obfuscates your vision while you're playing the game, which is really important in a game like this. And that's something that they get right. And I think that goes a really long way with something like this. And one of the other things that I like as well is that they're not going to paywall characters behind battle passes or microtransactions.
Right, all the characters are there. They're not locked behind anything. I would be okay, like I said earlier, if you give me a comic book and there's like skins attached to that comic book, and as you complete the missions and whatnot, you unlock them. Cool, right? Then you wouldn't have to worry about battle passes or a standalone thing. You buy the comic, you complete the comic whenever you complete the comic.
They're just keeping it cosmetic. It's the best way for you to be able to do it with a game like this. And something that I really like is that you actually have to go looking for the monetization. It's not just in your face. And I'm going to
That's true. When you log in, the store page doesn't pop up right in front of your face. It's there. It has a little marker, but it doesn't pop up. Did you check out the new skin? Like, none of that. There's the little things on the side. That's it.
trigger some people when I bring this up. But those games that like to hit you with like 4 or 5 different notifications or menus of like different things that they're trying to sell you before you can even get in to play the game in the first place.
They don't do that here yet.
Marvel Rivals does not have that.
Hopefully.
Open the game, press play. You're in a match. Simple as that. And by the way, incredibly quick match times. I mean, you hit it and it's just like match found. There's no.
Well, match time is good, but we're finding out there's bots, so it could be because you're going against bots, you don't know it, or it's because there's a shit ton of people playing, or both.
Delay or anything like that. It's great. I love it. And in a lot of ways, when I'm looking at this game, I think that I look at the industry and I see how they've been covering it, talking about its success in the reviews and things like that. And they're really downplaying it. They're oversimplifying it. Well, it's the Marvel IP. Well, it's a free-to-play game. That's the reason why this game is doing so.
Well, those are reasons. But at the same time, it's because it's a good game and it's Marvel and it's a fun game.
Well, And they're really underselling it because I think the truth is a lot more nuanced than that. Marvel Rivals doesn't just replicate what others have done right, it also does better what others did wrong.
And it's a popular IP.
And in that, what they're doing is they're picking up all the players that have been left behind.
Yeah, Overwatch, not respecting the players, lying straight to your face about what they were going to do with Overwatch 2, and then they didn't.
A really popular discussion that I've seen recently is both games executives and games media that have been writing this line of games being ripoffs of successful games, and that's the major...
All games are ripoffs of other games. All games are ripoffs of other games. And if a game is original and it's new and it's different, then people will rip it off and make that.
Major factor as to why those games have been able to find any success, which, yeah, duh. But at the exact same time, there's more to it than that, and that undermines the success of that game. We saw the same thing with Palworld on its release. Its design and gameplay elements were definitely emulating Pokemon. There's no doubt about that. But
Pokemon, Ark Survival, right? It's taking a bunch of games and merging them together to make its own game. But it took pieces from it.
But a mere copy doesn't find 25 million players the way that Palworld did. Or now 20 million players for Marvel Rivals and its inspiration that's taken from Overwatch. Now, I will say I find it incredibly rich to see that Mike Ybarra, ex-Blizzard president turned sports betting CEO, now there's a career change that makes...
Oh, is he in sports betting now, Mike Ybarra?
A lot of sense. It tells you a lot about the industry today, now doesn't it? However, he went to Twitter to say, looks like Overwatch Marvel Rivals ships tomorrow, much like Light of Motrium, a clear copy of Horizon Zero Dawn out of China. I mean, even the character name, Widowmaker in...
This is the most idiotic thing a person could say. Widowmaker in Overwatch versus Black Widow in Marvel Rivals. Like, tell me you didn't know about Black Widow without telling me you didn't know about Black Widow. Like, she's been around for 50 years, man.
Overwatch versus Black Widow in Marvel Rivals, LOL, NetEase, Tencent, all the same. Ironic coming from somebody that used to work for Blizzard, a company that outside of a few hits has built its entire empire off of copying successful games, modernizing them, and then re-releasing them to even more success. I mean,
that's what Blizzard did. It makes no freaking sense.
Overwatch isn't even original. Most of its core mechanics and premise were directly taken from Team Fortress 2, but I've seen a lot of people comment on this tweet. However, the one thing that I see that apparently nobody else does is fear and coping. If Palworld ever beats the sales of a Pokemon release, if Marvel Rivals buries Overwatch, if Light of Motrium outsells Horizon, what does that say about the empires that you've built and the game?
It means that you're not listening to the player base, and if these games beat your game, that means that you are doing something better than what they did, right? It means that you're making a better product for the actual consumers, and this is why they like that game better than your game. It's not about stealing anything. It's about making me interested. When I look at a movie trailer, I'm like, yeah, that movie looks good. When I read the back of a book and go, that sounds great, I'm going to read this book over the other book. When I look at the trailer of a game, I go, yeah, that interests me. I want to play that.
Games that you've made. If somebody can simply walk up, take what you've done, make it more fun, more edgy, more sexy, or whatever, and then immediately find success, aren't you the one that's failing to meet your customers' needs? Overwatch was massive when it first released, and it held that popularity for a long time. However, Blizzard, over the years, squandered all of the goodwill that they had created with that game. They killed their competitive...
Because there was no competition. They literally had no competition, and then they became complacent, and they're like, oh, we can do whatever we want, right?
Seen by getting rid of the Overwatch League, they erased the original game when making Overwatch 2, effectively bricking physical copies just because they wanted to push people into a new microtransaction ecosystem. For many, that was the breaking point. The players that remained behind did so because they actually believed in the promises that Blizzard had made for Overwatch 2. The PvE mode, the added depth, the value that was supposed to come with all of these great sacrifices that they forced upon the player. But in the end, all of that was taken away. All the future plans and promises were canceled. What they were left with was a stagnant live service game that was no better than the original version, that barely even changed, and had only taken their money and their hope. There's no loyalty there anymore. So when we see a new game like Marvel Rivals step out onto the scene, it has a ton of recognizable characters, more depth, and a clearer vision of the future. Well, it's easy to see why players would go to play that game. I mean, Blizzard is practically forcing them to at this point. That's why I always thought it was odd when I would see how often games media would talk about why Sony's Concord failed, claiming that it had to do with the fact that the hero shooter genre just wasn't in style anymore.
That was the wrong thing to say. It's not in style. I said personally, right, that it didn't make it because it was oversaturated. There was too many games, right? And it has to stand out above the rest. And Concord didn't do that. Okay. This game does that in many different aspects. Visually, gameplay-wise, the different strategy that's in the game with the characters that you have, with the team-ups.
It had nothing to do with that. In fact, I would like to believe that there's probably a growing hunger out there for something to replace Overwatch because there are so few experiences like that.
This is also great timing, by the way, right? Great timing. Also, another good timing of a game. What was the other one? Once Human that came out, right? The day before was hyping up the entire thing. The day before came out and bombed 3 days later. They closed the studio down and whatnot. But what came in that time was Once Human. It just came out of nowhere. It was like Once Human just dropped, and they're like, oh, wait, this is like, right? And it swooped in. Overwatch were saying certain things, and then they didn't do it. And then all of a sudden, Marvel Rivals like, well, here you go. We have it. I'm telling you, if this game had a PvE mode, Overwatch would be done. Done.
That in the market right now. There are so few low-commitment, fun games that have great multiplayer experiences with low bars of entry and high ceilings for competitive play. That's why Overwatch succeeded for so long. It stayed true the entire time. Marvel Rivals is finding success because that need is still there in the market. Concord didn't fail because of the genre. It failed because it lacked the one thing that Marvel Rivals has in abundance: character. In an interview with Eurogamer, Thaddeus Sasser, the director of Marvel Rivals, said that Concord didn't bring any unique value, and that's the reason why it failed.
Yep.
Saying that the truth is, I don't think anybody can predict this, or the games industry would be radically different today. There are a lot of games that come out that people are like, it's going to do well, and it flops. Or people are like, it's going to flop, and then it succeeds amazingly. I think it's really hard to tell ahead of time, and you're always worried about that. The trick is you have to have that reason that people want to come play your game. I think that Marvel Rivals does that exactly with superheroes. I don't know about you, but when I heard about the game's concept, I was like, oh my god, I want to go be Storm in the game. I want to go be Doctor Strange in the game. I want to be those heroes in the game. That sounds awesome. And of course, my mind immediately leapt to all of the cool possibilities that you could have with that. And that's what I think will pull people in. And I think he's right. Heck, I don't even remember any of the names of the characters from Concord, and I don't think anybody will.
I don't know anybody. I don't know any of the names of the characters. And I don't care. Don't care. I also don't know many characters from the first Descendant, except Bunny and Freya. Other than that, I don't know any other. Kyle, I think, was another one, right? I know more of those characters than I know anybody from Concord.
Concord really didn't do anything. It had these...
And the point of me saying that is Marvel's been around for so long, you just by passing, you know, oh, that's Iron Man. That's Thor. That's Captain America.
Characters that weren't all that well designed.
It's Freena? Whatever.
People didn't really want to play as them or even get to know them, and the developers just...
Point stands, Altern. I don't know who they are, and I don't care.
Assumed that we would want to get to know them. We know that because they had this whole plan and business strategy around delivering seasonal movies for their cast of characters. You either have to hook players with something that they know, or you have to tantalize them with something that is so cool that they need to know more about it. Concord did neither of those things while also looking not really all that entertaining to play. You know, another justification that I'm seeing right now as well is that the reason why Marvel Rivals is doing so well is because it's free to play. And then
well, that helps. That helps. Right? But if this was a $40 game, it would still sell well. But it would be done to make it a $40 game in a landscape of other games out there that are free to play. So you have to at least match your competition. The competition is free, so you have to make it free.
They make the comparison and say, well, you know, the reason why Concord failed was because it was $40. It would have done better if it was free to play. I don't think that that's as big of an impact as many in games media or even the industry thinks it is. From my perspective, when you make a game free to play, you're essentially just removing the ceiling
Sure.
on what kind of success a game can have, because you can basically reach any audience, anywhere, at any economic.
Well, here's also a thing. A $40 game that's incomplete is a worse game than a free-to-play game that's complete. Free-to-play games have to work because they need to keep you in the game because they're not making any money off you right off the bat. A $40 game doesn't need to be as good, and they can fix it over time because they already have the $40 in their hand, right? And that's why free-to-play games are better games when they launch than games that are full price, because they have to keep you engaged. Because their business model is make it a fun game, make it a big game, make it a game that you don't want to leave, and you'll spend at least a minimum of $40.
Status. But at the end of the day, if a game is good enough or interesting enough, or it's a game that players just genuinely want to play, they will buy that game.
Sure.
I mean, Call of Duty still.
But it has to be fun. And if I can, this is why I think demos are great. If I could play a demo of your game and it's a fun game, I'll buy your game. Right? If your game doesn't look fun and I have to pay $40 to find out about it, that's a wall.
Still sells gangbusters. Overwatch wasn't free to play when it first came out, and it still did really well, and it stayed popular.
Overwatch had multiple betas that you could try it out beforehand, and it was supposed to be free, but then they charged money for it, which that was a talking point a lot of people forgot about.
Popular for a really long time. I just don't think it's as big of a factor as people make it out to be. People will buy the games. We've
Sure.
seen that.
I mean, look, if your problem is buying a $40 game and you're broke, you might have to reevaluate your life. Okay, $40 is not a big thing. You're going out and you buy 4 coffees for your family or whatever at Starbucks. It's the same price
all year round. The most successful games this year were games that were sold, not necessarily games that were free to play. Look at Black Myth Wukong. Look at Baldur's Gate 3 last year. Look at Elden Ring. Look at Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. There are tons of examples of games that sold just fine and really weren't limited by the fact that people had to pay for them. You know, it's actually crazy is that I can't remember exactly what video this is from. I'd almost guarantee it's from a wake-up call. But I talked about how none of these...
Exactly right, Kylo. Kylo says, man, without the Division 1 demo, I would have never looked at the game. The demo was better than the damn release product. But that's the sale pitch, right? They show you something, you play the demo, and you're like, all right, it's a fun game, I'm going to buy it.
These live service games, none of these publishers are out there creating any goodwill with their audience. All they're doing is creating a scenario in which players are ready to be taken away from them at any given moment, because all they do is take. They just take. It's always a net negative for the players and a net positive for them because they keep making money. And because of that, you're not building any loyalty. And that's why I think a game like this is succeeding, is because in a lot of cases, it's just players that have been burned by other games that have been waiting for something else.
Sure, and I think it's perfect timing. Swooping in when Overwatch was at its lowest point.
And this is the shiny new toy, and it looks really fun and cool, and it's recognizable, and that's why players are going to play it. And what's crazy is that...
Robert Jones says, besides COD, what paid multiplayer games are selling well? I mean, Battlefield sold well, even though it was broke, buggy, and unfinished. I mean, it does... I mean... sell as much as COD or just selling well? Like, Battlefield sold well. I think it sold like 6 million copies or something like that, right? There's really not many games that are paid that are selling as good as COD, right? BattleBit was $30, right? Half the price of COD. Apex was free, right? PUBG, like a Tarkov, maybe the Extraction games, right? But as far as like fighting games, most of them are free.
Any company could build loyalty. They could actually hold on to their player base. I think a really good example of this is Path of Exile and Warframe. Years of customer...
Here's the thing I think that might have happened, right? Overwatch, and maybe this is why they got rid of the PvE. Right? I would have to go back and look at the timeline of when they canceled the PvE. But maybe they didn't know about NetEase was working on Marvel Rivals. Just like PUBG didn't know Fortnite or Epic was working on Fortnite Battle Royale, right? Because Fortnite was working on survival, the save the world, and PUBG was the king of the hill as far as battle royales go. And then all of a sudden, Fortnite came in and boom, came in and snuck in and then took the reins from them, and they've never looked back. Okay, maybe Overwatch and Blizzard, they were so like, we're just gonna make Overwatch 2. We're gonna do the PvE stuff. We're gonna do all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, they got the smell of, wait a minute, they're making a game just like Overwatch, and they said, all hands on deck. We have to stop making PvE stuff. We need to make this because this is the competition. Maybe. Okay? But it just seems very odd to me that you would strive to make Overwatch 2, single player, PvE, leveling up, make it more complex type of stuff, and then all of a sudden be like, yeah, we're not doing any of that. And all of a sudden Marvel Rivals comes out and then takes the rest of the player base, right? So it's like a perfect storm for Marvel Rivals right now.
Satisfaction, and those players are stuck to those games. They're not going anywhere. Every single time they do an update, bam, player numbers shoot up. Path of Exile just released Path of Exile 2. Game blows up. Over 500,000 players on Steam. Who knows how many players across other platforms? Blizzard could have done that, but they didn't. They instead wanted to milk their players for all they're worth. And while I don't think we're going to see, a massive impact in the player base of Overwatch immediately, we probably will see it over time, because keep in mind, those players are invested over there. They have skins, they've been playing the game, they understand the game, they know the meta,
Oh, they're getting hit on multiple sides, Water. Not just Path of Exile 2 and Rivals, they're also getting hit in their MMO section as well.
The people that are in the competitive scene, they're invested for other reasons as well. So you're not going to see a lot of those people move immediately, but I do think you're going to see it slowly happen over time, because one game has a bright future and the other game is just, I don't know. I think that Marvel Rivals,
I thought that's what you meant, Jones, that you were just talking about shooters. That's why I didn't bring up any kind of sports games like they were.
Director is absolutely right when he's talking about creating something to entice players to come over to your games. And for him, he's using the example.
Obviously, because in the context, we're talking about Marvel Rivals. So you're talking about a PvP competitive type of game.
Example of the characters, which he's absolutely right in that. I think that, having the IP is huge. It's very recognizable. People want to go play as the Marvel characters. I have my favorite. Most people have their favorite characters. It's fun to play them as those characters. And it's also fun to fill that, player fantasy or that power fantasy of playing as that character and using their powers against other heroes and stuff like that. But one thing that I think that Marvel Rivals has proved that the industry is not going to be very happy with, and it's that players do care about how their characters look.
100%. Hey, look, I don't even know why this is a fucking talking point. I'm not saying from him, just in the industry itself, right? There's literally customization when you play a single player game, and people spend 2 hours making their character. If it's ugly, if it's good, if it's bad, the customization on games where you make your own characters should tell you wonders of why people care about their characters the way they look. If I want to look like myself, if I want to make a really ugly character, if I want to make a best looking character I've ever created in my entire life, like, of course the gamers care about how their characters look, right? Each your own, but you care. So why is it a surprise they're like, yeah, we want good looking characters, right? Unless you're a streamer trying to make people laugh and make a shitty, ugly character, most of the time when you're playing a game, you're trying to make a badass looking character because you're playing that character for the next 30, 60, 80, 100 hours.
Something that I've taken a while to figure out how to properly voice is that games across the board.
And if I can't make my character, of course I want the predetermined character to look badass. I don't want to play some ugly character that's like super overweight or whatnot. I'm sorry. That doesn't sell. Master Chief, okay, is not 500 pounds and round. He's a killing machine in a badass suit of armor. You see what I'm saying? It's a predetermined character. He has to look awesome.
Need to do a better job at inviting players in to actually play their games, and making your game beautiful and attractive is the best way to do this. Now,
of course it is.
Figuratively and literally. Dark Souls or Elden Ring don't need hot characters to bring you in. It hooks you with the setting, the vistas, the brutality. Path of
Yeah, but even in those games, the character looks cool.
Exile 2 entices you with the grotesque nature of its world. However, games that the player character is the main focus, narrative-driven RPGs, or in this case, the hero shooter genre, it is incredibly important to make sure that those characters are going to attract the player in to actually want to play as those characters, to learn about them, to be them, and ultimately buy cosmetics for them. Marvel Rivals understands this and executes on it with style. Before this game was even released, I can...
Roic says my friend won't play Druid in D4 because it looks like a refrigerator. Yeah, it looks fucking, they look bad. I play Druid, right? The Druid look cool for the man, but the woman doesn't look good as a Druid inside D4. It just doesn't.
Cannot tell you guys how many times I saw images of Squirrel Girl floating around Twitter, Reddit, and Discord conversations. Hell, the first time that I was even introduced to this game was because of a tweet that I had seen where apparently one of the models that had posed for one of the characters and their CGI had been leaked. And
do you think, here, let me back up here for a second.
apparently one of the models
Do you
that had
think
posed for one
Psylocke
of
would
the
sell
characters
better
and
if her, obviously if this wasn't a Marvel character, right? We're playing a different game and she's 450 pounds, right? Do you think she would look better? And people would be like, man, I can't wait to play that character. Get out of here. You said yes, you're a liar. You're a liar. You would never touch her. You would never ever play her. You'd be like, nah, I don't want to do that. The hitbox is too big.
their CGI had been leaked. And the body model for Psylocke proudly let everybody know that that was her ass in the video game. Rivals has some of the slickest designs that I have seen in this year so far. They do an insane job of blending comic designs and anime designs in a way that doesn't take away from the original art of the characters. They still remain just as iconic, but they're updated for more modern sensibilities and tastes. You want to play as these characters, and the game invites you to do that because of how great they look. When you actually play the game, it's even better. You're bouncing between these menus and flashing yellow lightning characters popping out of the selection screens. They have these awesome intro animations, and in-game, the art style flows between this hand-drawn, cartoon, and cel-shaded thing that feels like it's straight out of the Spider-Verse movies, which were really incredibly popular and visually beautiful. When I go back and I look at games like
look at this. She's not fat, right? It has nothing to do with being fat or skinny, right? But look what they did to Harley. Is that a cool skin? I can't wait to look for trailer park trash Harley.
Concord or Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, it's clear that character designs play a huge role in drawing players in. Yet these games
That's a hot one.
miss the mark. In Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, for example,
Aaron Freeze.
they gave their rendition of Miss Freeze, and that felt completely detached from the character that we know and love. When you look across all of the characters in Rivals, every single design jumps out of the screen, showing you something fresh, interesting, and recognizable. And I think the same thing can be said for
What is that? What is that? If I don't know your character, you better make your character fucking badass looking for me to show some sort of interest.
Concord, where the characters just felt completely forgettable. They didn't inspire curiosity. The designs felt so generic that there really wasn't even a reason for you to care. There was nothing about the game that screamed come and play, nothing to make you want to learn about their backstory or even experience the gameplay. And I think it's really important to take notice that Marvel Rivals has completely avoided this broader trend that we've seen across the industry, this heavy lean into socially progressive design choices that, I'll be honest, I just don't find them aesthetically pleasing. Nothing to do with personal beliefs or ideologies. I just don't think they look interesting or cool, and oftentimes they feel forced and uninspired.
Why would I want to play a game for 30, 40, 80, 100, 200 hours if the character looks like shit?
Characters that are introduced with seemingly little depth, lacking substance, and designs that are so clinical and uninspired that they fail to generate any excitement or interest. Instead, they're just turning players away. I've seen a lot of people ask the question, why do you even care? If you don't like the way that it looks, just don't play it.
Great. That's exactly what people did. They didn't like the way they looked, and they didn't play it. And the game bombed, and then guess who was to blame? The people that didn't buy it.
And that's the thing. People are not playing these games. They are failing by either creative choices or choices that are rooted in their own worldview. I want games to succeed. I want games to do well.
I want all games to succeed. I want games to be badass and fun to play.
I don't want developers to lose their jobs or studios to go out of business. I want more games to play, and the only way for that to happen is for more studios and publishers to face reality. Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian Studios' director of publishing, Michael Dow, stated this perfectly. He said, 2025 and beyond is going to be an extremely tough time to ship a game, with division spilling into everything. I have one practical piece of advice that, to some, seem controversial, but it's crucial. Anticipate, don't ignore, or ridicule, or stoke. Figure it out, navigate the waters, even if you think they're unfair, or that the sea shouldn't be that rough. The reality is that it is. And he's absolutely right. That's just the reality of the world.
He's saying it right now. Sorry, but that's life. That is the reality of the world.
Ultimately, when a game fails to deliver on its foundational elements, strong, engaging characters and designs that invite players to connect, everything else becomes irrelevant. Players need to feel drawn into these games' world, and they need to be invited in before they can even get to the gameplay. While many may wish that the world was different and they want to project their worldview onto their games and their characters, you are selling a commercial product that people are expected to buy for you to stay in business. And if they don't like the way that it looks, they're not going to play it. Now, I want to be
exactly right. Hey, if I don't like the way a person looks, I'm not going to date them. If I don't like a place that it looks, if my food looks off at a place, I won't eat there. Right? Just what it is, man. Hence why things look good, because you're attracted to things. If you just went outside and you saw like a shitty place, right? It's trash fires going on and a Shangri-La. Which one are you walking towards? You're like, it might be cool to go over to the shitty looking place, but something bad's probably going to happen over there. Hence why it's in the state that it's in. So you're drawn to the prettier place. Okay? Until you look at the price tag and you're like, I can't afford that. I can't afford that nice place. I'm going to go back to the shitty place.
Be crystal clear on this, because this is social media. People can and will frequently take you out of context and completely miss the plot when it comes to these conversations. So I'm going to be literal as possible. Looks alone will not and cannot bring you continued success. They can garner attention, but clarity eventually will take over and interest will be lost if there's nothing else there beyond the looks. A perfect example of this is The First Descendant. This game has some of the
First Descendant looks fantastic. Gameplay's fun, right? But it's repetitive, and it's kind of just like, it's very repetitive. Now, if you made the same exact game, First Descendant, but put an IP that's known well in the same gameplay as First Descendant, it would be a bigger game because of the IPs carrying at that point, right? So if you make two things the exact same, and one's not known and one is known, the one that's known is going to do better than the one that's not known, because they just have no interest in those characters.
Hottest character designs that you can find in gaming without having to private your Steam library.
That's right.
Many people celebrated the release of The First Descendant. It soared up to 260,000 players on Steam within the first week of its launch. It was well received on console, and it quickly became the flag to fly in the face of developers that were creating games for the mythical modern audience and the journalists that defended them. I played The First Descendant. I reviewed it on this channel. And while I felt it controlled well, it was one of the most shallow games that I've ever played. It was repetitive. It lacked diversity in gameplay, in content, and its progression and monetization was completely taken from Warframe, but they had gotten rid of all of the fairness and generosity. Overall, the game just had no soul. And to nobody's surprise, the game lost 94% of its player base.
Well, most games will lose that much because maybe people played it through the campaign and then stopped. Maybe people got to a certain point, got that one character and then stopped, right?
Since launch. And the truth of the matter is, you need to have more than that. And I think that Marvel Rivals is likely going to be that proof of concept. It is shown that success in live service, or any game for that matter, is about making a game that resonates. It's about the combination of all factors that make a game successful. Marvel Rivals performs well, it's smooth to play, it has accessible gameplay that feels familiar yet fresh, it has a lot of depth, it has a high ceiling for skill expression, it has some stunning artwork and character designs, and most importantly, it's a game that understands what players want, respects it, and delivers it. And it's just a fun game.
Here's the thing, right? Just because it's Marvel doesn't mean it'll succeed. Look at Marvel's Avengers. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Look at Marvel Midnight Sun, right? All three of those titles are all Marvel brands. I'll even throw Marvel Future Revolution in there, right? Games came out, they made money, but they underperformed in all those categories. Every single one of those games underperformed. Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's Midnight Sun, and Future Revolution, right? Now you have this one that's succeeding.
Game. At the end of the day, that's exactly what we need these games to be. It's the most important thing is for these games to be fun and enjoyable, and that's exactly what Marvel Rivals is. It's very light. It doesn't feel high commitment or anything like that. I love the character designs. I love the animations of the game. I just like playing the game. It's just fun to play. And that's what you want from a game like this. You know, I've seen a lot of the reviews for this game talk about how it's just a messier version of Overwatch. And while
That's the wrong mentality to have. I've said this before. People are like, they should do this with this game and make it like Overwatch. Make this like Overwatch. They should do this like Overwatch. It's like, then go play Overwatch. Go play Overwatch. Overwatch is still there. Not gone. You can still go play Overwatch. Stop trying to make Rivals into Overwatch.
Well, I think that's true in some cases because there's so many characters and they have so many abilities and there's the synergies and the team ups and stuff like that. At the same time, that's kind of the charm of the game. That's why the game's so much fun, is because of the chaos. It's one of those things where it's actually more difficult to describe and it's better off experience. So I highly recommend, if you guys like these kind of games, go give it a shot. I think it's really cool. Plus, on top of that, I just like to see games like this succeed in the first place because I think they do show off a really good example of what players are looking for in games today. And it gives a better through line for other developers to emulate that success and, yeah, follow the leader in this case. And, you know, to be honest with you, this game came out of left field for me. I was not expecting this game. And
it didn't come out of left field for me, but last year's mentality was keep my expectations low. I played the beta. I really enjoyed the beta. And played the second beta. Really enjoyed the second beta, right? The two betas that came out, whatever. And when it came out, I didn't really talk about it until, 3 days before? Then we started talking about it because then I was excited about it, okay? Because it was coming out. Where it was just smooth the entire time we played it those multiple times. And then when it came out, I was just like, man, this is good. It's a good game.
I keep doing this to myself. I had written this game off entirely because I saw it was made by NetEase. And
well, yeah, I mean, hold up there, Legendary Drop. Right now, we're still in the honeymoon phase. Let NetEase cook, right? They could ruin it. They could have a Sony Helldivers moment down the road.
I am one of those people that used to have.
Hopefully not. Maybe they learned their lesson. Maybe because of stuff that happened in the past, okay, they learned their lesson. Maybe they learned their lesson from Marvel's Future Revolution.
Have a bias towards a lot of Chinese game developers because I was always seeing the same kind of games coming out from them. Usually just blatant cash grabs, gotcha games, things like that, and it's just not for me. I like things that value my time and money, and oftentimes the games that were coming out of there were games that didn't do that. And I had written off Once Human. I was proven wrong. I written off Black Myth Wukong. I was proven wrong. I wrote off Marvel Rivals, and here I am again, proven wrong. So I am just gonna, not sell myself up river when it comes to some of these games anymore. But
when they first showed it, I was like, it's just Overwatch, but with Marvel. But then I played the beta and I was like, oh, it's way more. The team ups to me were a big selling point.
It's crazy to see what is going on with China. Genuinely, I'm wondering if it's just because of the fact that they're not dialed into the social politics and social progressive nature of just general discourse in the West and stuff like that. That they just cut through all of the BS and see what consumers want to buy as a product and just make that product, and they ignore everything else. And that's probably why they're finding so much success right now, is because they're basically just ignoring all of the noise of the world and just making a video game as a video game and not really thinking about anything else. And it goes a long way. It's giving them and bringing them a lot of success. And I think that the crazy thing is the East in general has cleaned up 2024.
Oh, yeah.
2020.
Yeah, 2024 was the year of China.
2025 is probably going to be just the exact same thing. Because if you looked at the Game Awards, a lot of the biggest releases were games that were coming from the East. Capcom's cooking. You got a couple of the other Chinese developers that are cooking right now. You got some, some South Korean developers are starting to cook a little bit. They just need to get off of that bad monetization stuff. That's a problem with like some of the Eastern games, man, is that like they have some of the most overt monetization, and it just makes you want to have nothing to do with their game. They have so
I think one of my things is against microtransactions or whatnot. I just think Marvel Rivals, and again, this is just my opinion, and people will disagree with me. I just think the even though they're bundling them together with like 5 things, an emote, a skin, a bunch of different stuff, I still think the microtransactions are just a little too high. $10, not $22, not $28. Right? I don't like it in Fortnite. I don't like it in a lot of other things. Like if they lowered the price, they would make way more money. And I know they don't believe they would. But for every person that pays $28, there's 5 people that are not going to pay $28, but they would buy 3 skins at $10. You see what I'm saying? They would buy multiple skins if the price was lower instead of buying no skins because the price is too high.
great premises for games, and then they just ruin it. And I'll be honest with you, like I look at a game like Lost Ark. I think this is probably the best example of it. Lost Ark, as a concept, is such an incredible game, but the problem is that you put all the like gotcha mechanics with leveling up weapons that completely undermine the reason why you would play.
I played the shit out of Lost Ark. We have over 140 hours, 150 hours.
Play a game like that in the first place. If you're playing an MMO, it's to get cool weapons and equipment and make your character stronger. But when you make people pay for that, well, then why would I even play the game? The achievement of getting that stuff rather than buying it is the reason why people like playing those games in the first place. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. Anyway, speaking of 2025, this is likely my last video of the year. I just want to say thank you guys for everything. This year has been...
This man's had a hell of a year. Hell of a year. Okay? I believe he lost his job this time, or when he was making this video last year, and he started making videos. Okay? And within the year, he had over 100,000. He's over like 231,000. Like, insane. Insane.
Wild. I was laid off this time last year.
Yeah.
And in a year's time, here I am now in a new career that you guys have so graciously given to me because you guys support this channel. You guys support the videos. You share the videos. You subscribe. You like the videos and comment and hang out in the Discord and show up to streams and stuff like that. And it's changed my life in an indescribable way. I'm not a rich man or anything like that. I'm just living a solid life.
You're making good. You're doing good now.
And I'm doing something
he didn't know, but last year losing his job was a blessing in disguise.
That I love to do, and I appreciate you guys for empowering me to be able to do just that. And I just want to say thank you. That's it. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe, and Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
I like his content. Let me put his... I didn't have this because we weren't going to watch it, but then right before the show started. So let me put his link down in the description below. Because we always try to do... Where is it? We always try to put the guys' channels and stuff down below. So that's a good video. His channel. Let me look up something real fast. It's insane. How many people he's got this year? Let me see. In this 1 year, I mean, holy Christ. Yeah, that is a lot. Let's see. Detailed. Yeah. From 1 year ago to now, he started. So back in November 2023, he had 27,500 on November 27th, 2023. Okay. by the end of last year, December 29th, he had 30,000. And today he's got 231,000. He's gotten 200,000 subscribers this year. Like, wow. That's insane. Good for him. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, because we've been watching him for about a year, so it was about 30,000, 32,000, or whatever it was. Insane. All right, next story. Next story. What time is it? 11:45. Don't know what this is. We have CD Projekt Red accuses of paying bots to defend The Witcher 4. Now, we have covered stories in the past that Disney does this. We've seen Disney do this for some of the movies they put out. I don't know about this story myself. I haven't heard anything. This is the first thing I saw this morning, and I was like, all right, let me see. So, if you guys like what we do, we cover news stories, have conversations, we'll watch videos, give you my thoughts and opinions. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. Okay. So, CD Projekt Red accused of paying bots to defend The Witcher 4. Okay. This comes from Fandom Pulse from Trent, right? John F. Trent. In a post on X, Aiden Paladin wrote, I have become 100% convinced that CDPR has paid for a bot farm to spam the same talking points regarding The Witcher 4. I pointed out before that there are 5 seemingly scripted responses to any critique that would also need to know about the game, but here it is overly. Okay, it says, quote, I say nothing about her being a Witcher. She's not canon. And cannot be. Instead, just say I don't want to play the game where you go around as Ciri trying to get raped in a war-torn continent, as happens in the books, and the NPC just starts talking about her being a Witcher and how I'm fake fan and complete non sequitur. And I refuse to believe these are real humans, she said, or she added. Okay, so Paladin, and then shared an example of the interaction with X user. Okay, Paladin committed to Pirate Nation post the book's poetry and gritty, or portray and gritty of dark nature of warfare, horrifying details, including Ciri being nearly raped, and also multiple occasions. While the also Geralt is also separate, and I don't want to play the game about that. Okay, the X user replied and said, at any part of the story, read the books. She doesn't take the trial or the grasses, but considers herself a Witcher in the end, and is more powerful than any Witcher. Don't tell me you liked Witcher 3 and act like this is because certain endings literally makes her a Witcher. Okay, so this is what they put. Okay, and it says in another post, she added that CD Projekt Red maybe put some instructions into your bots to not respond to women saying that she doesn't want to play a game where she's also a female protagonist and has to avoid being harassed and raped with the same fucking scripts, or reads the books and also she's a Witcher. Okay. It says the Paladin also accusations comes in the wake of intense backlash against the CD Projekt Red's decision to make Ciri a Witcher, and also who understood the trials of the grasses in The Witcher 4. Now, the game's executive producer confirmed the decision, IGN telling the outlet that there was a huge thing for us to make the call, okay, not only for her, but also for the game. But when it's important, it still leaves us so much space for imagination, like when it happened and how it happened. And it's just a tease showing something. But you don't know where you will experience it and how in the game. I think is a huge change, and I hope people did not expect it. Now, IGN also reported the game director informed them that they underwent a trial of the grasses as well. IGN's Matt Purslow reported that explains that the following events in The Witcher 3, Ciri has undertaken the famously painful trial of the grasses, okay, which also mutated her into a powerful and resilient warrior. This backlash was also addressed in multiple occasions, both as well as the narrative director, Philip Weber. In an interview with Eurogamer, Weber stated that, quote, I think there's many very valid worries and also responses, because I think there's a lot of them out there or come out of passion. I think a lot of these questions are also questions that also asked ourselves. So we really, again, say what we are beholden to in the lore, the canon of the books, okay, and the 3 previous Witcher games, and we've also wanted to take us seriously and really wanted to respect that. So all the answers we basically want to give The Witcher 4 are the line of the attitude, and we're also suddenly making up stuff just because we want to. We really want to take things seriously. So they're trying to say that, look, we're following the lore, okay, but people don't want to look at that because of the landscape of what's happening in the industry right now. It says, quote, so we can really understand if some people, might have wished to play another game with Geralt. But like I can say myself, I could make games about until the day I die, and I would probably die happy. But I think for me, I think it's for all of us at CD Projekt Red, it's also just really exciting to see all the opportunities and Ciri brings us. Both of this, her character, and also just a virtue of who she is and what can do with her in the terms of gameplay as well, he added. So I think the best answer for us, for all those people, would really be worried right now if it basically show them when they're ready. But they really do this well and with care. I think I also hope that we can also convince them that the game itself, because I think the actions speak louder than words. We'll see, right? On the Video Game Awards show, when we first watched it, we talked to Greg and Kingard and Sarge, and I said, I don't have a problem with her being what it is because, I'll have to wait for it to come out. All we saw was a CGI trailer. We know nothing about the game. We know nothing about the story. We know nothing. Nothing, right? We're all going off of speculation of what the book and what happened in the book and what's not supposed to, right? So they're saying, and again, now CD Projekt Red, for me, has lost, a lot of, goodwill because of what happened to Cyberpunk 2077. But again, The Witcher and Cyberpunk are 2 different things. If Witcher comes out and it's broke, buggy, unfinished game, you'll hear me bitch and moan and tell you about it, okay? But as far as the story goes, I have nothing to say about the story because I don't know the story. None of us know the actual story, what they're going to do with Witcher 4. He says, also answered, yeah, well said. Also on top of that, please remember that we're also not only developers, but we're also gamers, right? And you know that we started with the second protagonist already in the Wild Hunt, and also there's also already a tease. So really, all about making sure that such calls are very educated calls, and really believe that Philip already said that we also have so much great story to tell. So I don't know if the answer that was given was a bot, or if it was someone that was just taking defense for it. It could be a bot. If you're seeing multiple things that are happening and saying the exact same thing, then maybe you could say that. So in an interview with SkillUp YouTube channel, they already read the comments that people are also afraid of. And if you also go to everybody will be a mix. Do we still got it? You still need our trust. We are storytellers, and our priority always. And we also go in depth with that. We're going to be a universal experience of the storytelling, and she is the character that will give us the most opportunity to do that. And yes, we want to go to both players that also know us already and go to a new audience because you can also start the game without having any knowledge and actually about the previous games, and it's about the world. You can also just start in the new entry and will also be an introduction to the Witcher world. So totally fine. And you can also course and go back to the Witcher after. But I think it's also, do we have the idea for just and have to wait the experience? Yeah, I would see that you have to wait. Here's the thing. Maybe that this game shouldn't have been called The Witcher 4. Right? Maybe it shouldn't have been called The Witcher 4. Maybe it could have been called The Witcher and then it could have had a title underneath it. And it was like a off story. Maybe the main character left and did something else and you're just playing this story right now. Who knows, right? Unless they do something like they do for The Last of Us where they kill off one of the main protagonists and then she takes over. Who knows? Okay. It says, I can even add just a calm some people down, or we can calm some people down and trust the process. We are storytellers. The most important thing, and I believe that you can also experience this, is the trailer. This is a very core motivation behind making this trailer, and it actually is to make it the way that you will care, that you also have at some point care about it. Ciri, about the final feeling of, oh my God, I did my best, but I couldn't control everything. Some people follow by superstitions, bloody hell, and then I couldn't also save her. This is the way. We trust the process. We make the emotions. We pay so much respect to the characters that we create, and we believe it alive. Characters that will stay with us for you forever, and those are also like real people. And this is the way we make stories. So, again, this 100% could be what people are saying, that it might go down this bad path, and they don't like it because of the protagonist. But at the same time, you guys hear me say all the time, make a game, sell a game. If this is the game they want to make, then stay behind it. Okay. But at the same time, when it comes out, whenever it comes out, if it's 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever it is, if this is what they want to make and then it comes out and they don't make the sales like they did with the last ones, that's not on us. That's on them because they said, this is the game you want to make, but majority of the people don't want to play this character or they don't want to play this story. And that's on them. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into what they wanted to make, and now you got to stick behind it. So we'll see what happens with this. I don't know if it's bots. I'll be honest. I don't know if it's bots. I think it's someone at the company that's just going rogue and answering these questions or answering this rebuttal to these people. It could be a bot, but I think a lot of people are kind of and again, I don't think the people that are making content saying that we should worry about the DEI and worry about that stuff don't have a point. They could. I just don't think that we have to worry about it as we are right now, because you, as a viewer, can't do anything about it, right? They're not going to change the game in mid-process when they're working on it for 3 years already or whatever or whatnot, right? You can't do anything. The only thing you can do as a consumer is, if you do care about stuff like this, is follow the story when it comes out more and more and buy it or not buy it. That's it, right? So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I didn't even play The Witcher 3 that much. I watched Code Carnage play the majority of it, 108 hours, I think. I watched him play it because my son was born during that time. I really couldn't play video games back then. And then every time I would try to get in on it, just never could get into it. So even when this game comes out, I probably won't even pick it up. Not because of Siri, just because I bought it last time and I didn't play it. So why would I waste my money? Right? And I'm not saying waste my money because I think it's a bad game. Just I probably won't play it because I don't have any interest in it. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Altern says, yeah, they should have probably have called it a different name, like The Witcher, the series story, or something like that, since Geralt is not the main. Yeah, again, but we don't know what it is. Hopefully they don't do a Last of Us where they kill off the main protagonist. Like, it would have been worse, let's be honest. If they did a trailer and they showed you the main protagonist again, and then the game comes out and he dies off in the first act, and then you're playing Ciri for the rest of the game, I think that would be a worse thing. At least they're showing you now that this is the character you're playing. Ghost Wolf says, I need to finish Witcher 3 from I've heard. CD Projekt Red set it up for her to be the Witcher, but I haven't finished it. But I haven't. It's in the wasn't it in the DLC of Witcher 3, if I'm not mistaken? He says, well, now this game is a pass for me, given that they come out about CD Projekt Red generally, and what they said about this game. I want no part of it. That may change, though. Right. Water says, I think they are screwing up by not sticking with him, especially during the times in the gaming where there's also a ton of gender swapping in the games. I don't think there's a problem with a female protagonist, right? I think it's just bad timing. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's put it this way. We were just talking about Marvel Rivals, right, Water? Do you think instead of having Wolverine that they had X-23 come in, do you think they would have been more pissed about that, or they would have been like, oh, they have to give us Wolverine down the line instead of like she's taking the place? Like the temperature right now in the video gaming space is that they're swapping people left and right, and she was already in the game. It's not like they just created her out of thin air. She's part of the story. Well, whoever knows Ciri knows that she can't be a Witcher according to the lore. Sure, but let them tell the story. Let them tell us why she became a Witcher or how she became a Witcher, is what I'm saying. Robert Jones says, this is why I don't buy it. Witcher 3 is still mostly untouched. That's my problem. I watched Code Carnage play it, loved watching him play it. But then when I bought it myself, it never hooked me. And because of that, I'll never buy another one, at least right off the bat, because why would I waste my money? Witcher 4 is catching strays? Yeah. Oh, I understand, Water, what the lore is, but let them tell us the story. Roic says Geralt's story was completed with the Blood and Wine expansion. Right. And I'm okay if, you know what I mean? Like, they set it up. It's not like this was a surprise. Mo says, well, in 3, she was being trained. Someone's rules are broken. All they have to do is tell us. They just have to write a story to tell us, like, how she could overcome this, right? That's all all they have to do. Rokiel says, guy at the end of Witcher 3, he calls her the Witcher. Geralt calls Ciri a Witcher in the end of the game. I don't agree that that's because Geralt's training Ciri from teenager. It makes sense that the project can write a girl character. Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I think, like Robert Jones says, I think it's catching strays from everything else that's going on, right? My big thing is, don't preach to us, but I don't think they're preaching to us. I think they're telling us the story of the character that's already been established in the past games. I'm more worried if the game comes out complete. You see what I'm saying? My thing is, the last time CD Projekt Red released a game, a full-fledged game, the game came out broke, buggy, and unfinished, and they told us they wouldn't do that, and they did, and now this is their next game. In a new engine, by the way. In a new engine, so they're using the Unreal Engine. I'm more worried that the game is not going to be done when it comes out than worried about Ciri. But that's coming from me, the gamer. Waterbear says, according to the lore of The Witcher, while not explicitly stated as impossible, it's highly unlikely for a female to become a Witcher due to the brutal mutation process involved. Maybe someone casted magic on her to get past that point. But every time she does it, she dies a little bit. Like, who knows? Reese says she was being trained, but her blood/powers, she's stronger than the Witcher. Okay? But that was already established, right? Maybe he'll set up to tell everyone how she was able to overcome it and become a Witcher. Right, that's what I'm saying, Ghost. Right? I'm not going to start throwing strays out here and damning the game because, right? Let them tell the story. Make a game, sell a game. Put your passion into the game that you want to make. Tell us what that game is. And then, when it comes out, then you can judge it. Just like any other piece of entertainment. Book, movie, TV show. Argus says, I don't think that I've seen of Witcher 4 is woke so far. It's not anything to be worried about yet. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any. I think there's a nothing burger right now, but I'm not going to say there's a nothing burger overall. What we've seen right now, everyone's just speculating. There's no evidence in any way, shape, or form of it. And the character that they're using was already in the game. And as long as they can tell us a story and why, and it makes sense, then there shouldn't be a problem. Obviously, I don't want to know the story now, right? Don't pre-order, wait for reviews. Oh yeah, it's going to make its money. Reese says the issue isn't her taking on the role of a Witcher. She's being trained for that, and her taking the potions physically became a Witcher. But a lot of people have a problem with it because of it, though, Reese. They're like, oh, she's the protagonist, and she's going to be more powerful. Than it's like, just wait for the game to come out. Let them make the game they want to make. As long as they're saying it, they're sticking close to the lore. They're the storytellers. I think the next thing that people might run with is that it should be a Mary Sue, right? Like, she'll be a Mary Sue. She'll be like the Rey in the Witcher world. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the with CD Projekt Red. I don't know if those are bots that are replying. I think those are actual people, like, just want to call them trolls or whatnot. Now, if you start seeing the exact same thing happening multiple times, then you can look at bots. Disney has bots that reply to movie reviews and stuff like that because they say the exact same things in all their stuff. Amazon had bots for Rings of Power reviews and stuff like that. As he says, holy crap, it's not like they're saying Wonder Woman is stronger than Superman on the established characters. They're going to write a story. And so what you love, Gerald's better, go play the old games. Yeah, I just think I think it's a weird thing when they call it The Witcher 4. Maybe that's why people have a problem, Z, right? They could have called it like The Witcher, the series of Ventures or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they could have called it something else. Because again, if they kill off him for her to take place, hopefully it doesn't happen in the game. Maybe it's just, I'm going on a mission. This is up to you right now or something. Something. Let them tell the story. Let them tell the story. Robert Jones says, did we talk about Facebook adding actual bots the other day? No, we didn't. I didn't even hear about that. Lucas says, it makes sense that they touch topics like misogyny because it makes sense in that universe. Does that make it woke in that case? I don't think so, right? If that's happening in that world and that world is what it is, that's fine. I think it would be a problem if they use the words that we use. Like, if all of a sudden there was a transgender character in that game and they talk about it, it's like, well, that's now they're taking the real world stuff, bringing it in. Sure, misogyny exists in that world, right? And it's been established because it's dark and whatnot. But I think that's the difference, right? If it's already in the lore and it's in the game, then cool. But if you're just putting it in because of you're gaslighting people because of current situations in the world, is a completely different thing. I don't think that's what they're doing. I don't think that's what they're doing at all in any way, shape, or form. What's going on, dog? Like, if you played the other ones or watched someone play the other ones like I did, then you know the story and you know that was setting up. That's why I'm not shocked that she's the character. Right. Right, Titan. If they did something like that, like, call me by my pronouns, I'd be like, what? That would be the weird part. Oh yeah, it's gonna happen, Jones. That's definitely gonna happen. Yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. And again, they're okay making those videos. They're doing what they're doing, right? I'm just saying, I'm not going to condemn a game before we saw a trailer. We saw a trailer. We know nothing of the game itself. Nothing. Her pronouns are she/Witcher. Exactly, Argus. If you're going to do stuff like that, then use terminology in that world, not our world in that world. Right? Yep, and I don't hate them for doing it, Eclipse. I mean, do what you got to do, right? Each their own. Each channel's running their own business, and that's how they make money. Then make the money. I don't hate other people for doing content. We might watch some of those videos down the road, right? I mean, we watched that video of people complaining about Black Widow in the game when she was going to be OP one shot, right? I didn't give shit to the guy. We just give criticism to what was happening, and then we saw the game and like, no, that's not what's happening. You know who got shit though? I got shit for watching someone talking about it and then giving you my thoughts, and people didn't like the video because they thought I was saying it. Crazy. All right, what time is it? 12:09. We have a video, or not a video. We have a article talking about former Age of Empires developer says that the RTS genre is stuck in a rut, and you're still playing the same game. I don't know if I want to read that. I'll be honest. I'm just skimming through it real fast. I mean, we've been saying, me and Sarge have been talking about RTSs for a long time, and it's just that they haven't changed. It's the same fucking game year after year, right? It's the Madden football curse type of stuff. Like, how do you make an RTS different than the last RTS game, right? Robert Jones says, "Do it." Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I think it's just too. We already know the answer. You know what I mean? We'll do this one instead. We'll do this one instead. This one's a short one. Yeah, the Oblivion stuff is up in the beginning of the live show, Ghost. The next story we'll talk about is GTA 6 could make $1 billion before it even released. Okay. Speaking of CD Projekt Red, did this with Cyberpunk 2077, right? It sold 8 million copies pre-order before the game even came out. And then when it came out, it was broke, buggy, and unfinished. It took them 3 years to fix it, but they already made all their money from it. Not only did they make 8 million pre-order sales, but they also made another additional 5 million sales in right after everyone knew the game was broke. Okay, so GTA 6 could make $1 billion before it's even released. It has been estimated by gaming research group Grand Theft Auto 6, the world's most anticipated game, could secure $1 billion in pre-orders before it hits the market later this year. This monumental figure is expanded by agencies suggesting that GTA 6 could go on to make more than $3 billion in under a year. That's insane. Okay, what are we talking about as far as money here? If it's going to make $3 billion in 1 year, okay, we got 1 billion. So that's 100. That's a million. That's 100 million. That's $1 billion divided by what? 70. That's 14 million copies to make 1 billion. 14.2 million copies sold. Okay, if they're going to make 3 billion, they would have to make times 3 of that. They would have to make 42 million copies in year 1. It'd be fucking insane, right? That would be insane. Okay. So it has predicted that GTA 6 will make around 3.2 billion in 12 months once it launches this year. Expectations are currently sitting as an October release. Krebsy said October 23rd, right, for the last 6 months. So big numbers. In report, a publisher of Financial Times, the stability of the games industry was explored, okay, and also began to deep dive into how much GTA 6 is expected to make when finally released later this year. Per an estimation of the DFC, GTA 6 could make $1 billion in pre-order sales. So I think I'm on record of saying this. I said it will break records on pre-orders. It will beat the CD Projekt Red. I said this on GXG over 2 years ago, I think. I said it will break it. It'll break week 1, pre-orders, month 1, year 1. So this would be on that record, right? On pace for that. So ultimately, it's predicted that GTA 6 will go to decimate the number secured by GTA 5 in 2013. Now, speaking to Financial Times, Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two, Rockstar Games' parent company, said, "I never claim victory before it occurs." Well, that's good. That said, I think Rockstar Games will once again deliver something absolutely phenomenal. Certainly, anticipation is high. Zelnick also contributed to the discussion about the health of the current gaming generation and the consumer spending habits. It's way too early to believe that this console generation is maturing and reach its apex. He says, "You're seeing more consumers demand broadly, and the industry is frankly led by the U.S., has an amazing release schedule coming in 2025 and beyond. A hit coming from a company tends to benefit the entire industry." Okay, GTA 6 has already broken viewership records on YouTube. From the moment the first trailer released in December of 2023, the fans turned feral. Okay, and the famous secrets and hints. Today, it's still one of the most talked about videos in the world, and this is by the fact that the high-res version of the trailer recently surfaced online. Okay, which is also on a Chinese site or a Korean site or whatever. right? So that's insane, right? So CD Projekt Red has the record right now with Cyberpunk 2077 with 8 million. It's like 8.2 million pre-orders sold. This is going to have pre-orders of 14 million, which is what CD Projekt Red sold for Cyberpunk 2077 the first week with pre-orders. With the thing, they sold 12 million. Okay, so 12 million copies for that week one, and this is going to hit that in pre-order sales and projected to get 42 million sales, and that's just the $70 price tag. Do we think it's going to be $70? Right? Because that's insane. That's insane. Eclipse says, yeah, this game is going to make the next gen console sales go up. This is the one of those games that comes around once a generation, once a decade type of thing. Oh no, this is what's going to happen, dog. It's going to come out for this generation. Then when the next system comes out, they'll resell it for that generation. Like this is GTA 6 is going to be it's going to sell on the next 3 consoles. Yeah, it's been 1 year since the trailer came out. Exactly, Kraken. We're going to see GTA 6 sold across at least 3 consoles. Yep. Oh yeah. This is going to be the tail end of this console. And then, well, not, I guess, midpoint, because we're like four years in. This is the 5th year starting, right? So, mid, if it comes out this year, year 5, year 6 of the console cycle. And then it's going to come out when the next system comes out in 2027, 2028. For sure. And then they're going to have the online version. Forget about it. The online version is going to be the most insane part about this whole thing. Right? We're going to get articles about how this is also going to be woke, DEI, not as good, right? Remember what I talk about, the sequels that come out, right? Your expectations are going to be up here, and then it'll be underwhelming for a lot of people. Papa says 30, it's going to run like crap on this generation, run better next gen, then run the best on the 3rd generation. Yeah, just yeah. They'll sell you it 3 times. They'll sell it 15 different ways, remasters, up graphics. PlayStation's going to make out like a bandit because you know they're going to have some sort of marketing rights to this. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And I would like to know how many games delay or shift once they know the date of when this comes out. That's going to be the most interesting thing to me, right? Right now, there's going to be games that, first of all, they're not even announcing because they don't know when it's coming out. Okay? So they're all waiting. They're like, we're not putting our game out because we don't know when this is dropping. Soon as Grand Theft Auto announces when they're coming out, you're going to see games shift left and right. They're going to either keep it ahead, but they're going to push it a little bit further ahead so they have that space they can finish their game or whatnot. But anyone after, whenever it comes out, anyone after is gonna shift to the following year. Because you're gonna play Grand Theft Auto 6 and you're not gonna play anything else. Dustin, that's like saying the sun's coming up every day. Yeah, you buy all games day one, don't you? Nobody in this room was like, is Dustin going to buy this game? We all know Dustin's going to buy this. We all know you're going to buy it. Big coffee mug? No, small hands and small head. This is a tiny mug. Ubisoft's gonna make sure their games come out right at it. Yeah. Like, oh, we failed because Grand Theft Auto 6 came out. Dustin says, I'm not buying it day one. I'll believe it when I see it. Dog says, I'm buying it the day before day one. Yeah. All right, let's check Twitter here, see if anything is going on. Any news that broke while we were doing our show. Oh, I was gonna bring it up on GXG because we've been following that story on GXG. The story of Black Myth Wukong, the director came out and said that the reason they're not doing it is because of the 10 gigs of memory, of spare memory or whatever. On the Xbox Series S is why it's not coming out for the Xbox Series S, and they don't know how to do it. And we ran a story back in September, I think it was, August or September, with Paul Tassi, and I went back and forth saying, someone's lying here. If it's GG, what are they called? What's the game company called that makes Black Myth Wukong? It wasn't GGG. It's I forget the company's name off the top of my head right now. But Black Myth Wu's devs, Paul Tassi or Microsoft, one of them is lying. Okay, one of them is lying. And I said on record, I don't think Paul Tassi would lie about this because it would make him look bad. Well, here we are. We're at this point now where Game Science, thank you, Eclipse. Game Science came out and said this. Xbox said this. And Paul Tassi said that they said this. So now Paul Tassi is now deflecting, saying, well, that's what Xbox told me. So I'm not running it as a story because I'm still waiting. And I told you the truth will come out. The truth will come out at some point on who's actually telling the truth here. Now, there's two ways I look at this. Okay? I look at it as Game Science. They're just not good at what they do. And this is why it was poorly optimized on PlayStation. And obviously, there's less, memory on the Xbox Series S, and they can't do it. They couldn't even do it for the PlayStation, right? And it was running poorly optimized over there. So to do it on the Xbox Series S is even harder for them. So they're going to need more time for that. But we'll see what happens when it comes out. And when I say out, I don't mean the game. I'm talking about when the actual truth comes out on why it's not on Xbox yet. Kraken says, I still don't get why they gave the Series S less RAM than One X. I would assume because of the time frame of when the consoles came out, Kraken, with chips and whatnot to get the systems out there. Because remember, the Series S's were out there more than the X's. You couldn't get an X back in 2020. So maybe they did that for a right now moment. Altered says, so Paul Tassi lied? Who would have thought? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Because he has, I don't think he's wrote another article about it. Let me see if he's said anything. Because the last thing that he wrote, Krebsy sent me, he said that, let me see what he says. 3 hours ago, Black Myth Wukong director contradicts. Okay, so he does have an article. Let's look at this. Right. Okay, so he wrote an article which contradicts what he got from Xbox himself. Right. So let's look at this. Okay. So Black Myth Wukong director laments that Xbox Series S issue contradicts Microsoft again. So a long, strange saga of why Black Myth Wukong is still not on Xbox, now 4 months after its release, continues with new update this week. Once again, it seems to put Wukong developer Game Science at odds with Microsoft pushing back on the narrative on why the game is not on its platform, continuing to back and forth and stretches back to August 2024. And the reason we're reading Paul Tassi's article is because this is the one they originally followed when he first wrote the article. Okay, so we're taking it from his mouth. Okay, so this is based on the new Weibo message from Black Myth Wukong director, lamenting that Xbox Series S's limited shared memory was impossible to get the games optimized without. several years of optimization experience, and has set off to the entire conversation again. I'm just going to go through the timeline here. So back in August, I wrote a piece about the odd situation where Wukong and not Xbox, despite being released on the other platforms, is instantly rocketing to become the massive hit, mainly on PC. Now the second most concurrently played Steam game ever. But also on the PlayStation 5, initially statement was that Game Science said that the following, but was not going on, citing optimization issues with X and S. He says, quote, "We're currently optimizing the Xbox Series X and S versions to meet our quality standards," Game Science said. "So we won't release simultaneously with other platforms. We apologize for the delay and aim for minimize the wait for Xbox users, and we'll also announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards." Okay, says that could have ended there, which may have be back where we all are now. But I was contacted by a source, as were others. Okay, so there's other people that actually got the same source, with very close knowledge of the situation, in which later collaborated by reporting from IGN and also Windows Central that it was also not technical issues with the Xbox hardware, and that it was due to the exclusive deals. Others, like Jeff Grubb, disputed this was the case, and no deal was in place. Okay, so the hell is this thing over here now? So it says, as we said before, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and X, and working with the Game Science to bring the game to our platform. And we prefer not to comment on the deals made by the parent by the partners with other platforms holders, but we also can confirm that the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that we've been raised to us. Okay, now what they're saying there is limitations that were raised to us. Now, if Game Science was having an issue with the Xbox Series S, it was never said to Xbox, so they're both covering their asses there. Okay. Then in November, the game file, Stephen Totilo, had the following exchange with Phil Spencer when the game described as cagey at best. Okay, game file. "Do you know if you're getting Black Myth Wukong on Xbox at some point?" And Spencer said, "I do know." He says, "Are you getting it?" Laughing. "I can't announce that." Okay, that's pretty fucking dodgy. Okay, so it says, now we're back to Game Science bringing up the Series S, something Microsoft said was not the issue. Okay, and they said it wasn't the issue because it said it was never brought up to them. Okay, here's the full translation quote from director Feng Jing. Okay, it says, "Although there's no big surprises, I still felt a little emotional after getting all of them. Everyone's fighting power is so terrifying, but the only thing missing is the Xbox rope. It seems a bit wrong, but the 10G of the shared memory is really impossible to get without several years of optimization experience." Okay, and basically that's pulling themselves out there, saying that they don't have the experience to optimize something with that, with that size. Okay, so again, this contradicts Microsoft going out of its way to say it's not the hardware issue, unless some bizarre backbending is taking place along the lines of, well, it's possible they just don't know how to do it. That would not exactly align with the idea that Microsoft is doing everything they can to make this happen, which is what they claim. Now, no one, or not Game Science or Sony, has commented on one way or the other, but exclusively deals. This is a statement by Game Science, was citing the Series S, still does not comment on any deal or lack thereof of outside of that. Microsoft has not openly declared there's a deal that's also left them out, but it has also made sure public statements heavily point in this direction and away of potential hardware problems. If exclusive deal did exist, as where was told, the expired or is about to expire, these technical issues may still remain. Here's Windows Central's Jez Gordon with his own update given on this new quote. He says, "All I know for certain is they told Xbox there's a deal in place, and the Xbox believes that there's a deal in place. I'm reporting that Xbox believed to be the case, that at least back when I did original report, and they have so far declined to refute that." Okay. So the position some extremely passionate console enthusiasts take this is that we're all just getting paid or played by Microsoft, and they're lying about what's happening. There's certainly conflict statements about the optimization problems, but Game Science and Sony have never actually denied the existence of the deal, past or present. Either way, it does not reflect well on Microsoft that the end result is that they did not do the biggest of the gaming of 2024, and it's the platform at launch, and still do not have it now. It says, "I've asked Microsoft for comment on this, and getting utterly exhausting to have been told it may take a bit on the time of response due to the holiday. Once again, I will update this when I hear back and likely make a new piece of something significant to say. Hopefully there will be, and also have to reach out to Sony and Game Science again, who did not respond when the story first broke. So again, here we are. More information comes out, but yet everyone's still staying in the exact place where they were. Okay? I still stand by what I said. I don't think Paul Tassie's lying, as Akuta Papa is saying, I told you Tassie's lying. I don't think he's lying. I think that he got a source and told him what it is. That source also told IGN and Jeff Grubb and many other people, and Corden, I believe, okay? And I don't know if it's the same source, if it's one source that told all 4 people, if it's multiple sources that told them. They didn't say that. They don't know each other's sources. Maybe that's the same source. But I don't think Paul Tassie's lying willingly, right? He's reporting on what Microsoft told him. And what Microsoft told him is that, no, it wasn't because of any issues with the Xbox Series S or X that was brought up to them. Nothing was brought up to them, so they can't say it's a problem with us, right? So I'm going to push back on you, Akuta Papa. I don't think right now you could say he's a liar, but there's no proof that he's lying. He's just reporting on what is told. And again, I'm not a defender of Paul Tassi, okay? But at the same time, somebody's lying, right? We're in the exact same spot. If it's Game Science, if it's Sony, if it's Paul Tassi, and if it's Microsoft. Now, if Paul Tassi's lying, that means Microsoft is lying. Now, that is possible that Microsoft is lying. But it's also possible that Game Science is, with their inexperience of what they're doing, they didn't want to get thrown underneath the bus, so they didn't say anything, right? So this is where we lie. Okay? This is where we lie. 4 months, and we still don't know why Black Myth Wukong is not on Xbox. We do know it's coming to Xbox. And Xbox said it wasn't because of technical issues, because it wasn't brought up to them. But Game Science is saying, oh, it's because of technical issues. So, again, I go back to 4 months ago. Who are we supposed to believe? Who are we supposed to believe? Are we supposed to have credibility to Game Science, who's brand new on the industry? Okay, they're brand new, right? They don't have any goodwill besides the goodwill that they just earned from Black Myth Wukong for coming out and making a good game. Do we trust them? Right? I don't trust or not trust anybody. I look at the news, read the news, and see what it is, and something's fishy. Okay? Do we trust Microsoft? Right? Because Microsoft is saying, well, there wasn't problems from us, so, we're only telling you what we told. Some insider said this is what's happening, and Paul Tassi reports on it. Goes to Microsoft. Microsoft says, yeah, it's nothing with our end. So who is telling the truth? And who are we supposed to believe? And this is the problem with just the industry itself, right? With reporting, with just companies hiding shit, right? That they don't just come out and tell you, yeah, it's coming out, but the reason it's not coming out is whatever reason, right? They don't want to tell you that for whatever reason. Titan says, Game Science likes Sony more. What can I say? That might be it, right? Maybe they do have a deal. I'm not telling you they have a deal, right? But one of these things is not like the other. And down the road, apparently 4 months later, we still don't know. Okay? We still don't know. It's going to come out. It's going to come out. At some point down the line, if it's 6 more months, if it's 1 year from now, we're going to find out somebody didn't tell the truth. Altern says, on how the media was throwing shade to them for the made-up sexism inside the company, I don't believe the media when it's related to the Black Myth Wukong. But was Paul Tassi one of those people that gave them shade? I don't think he was. IGN was. Robert Jones says there are 2 things that are true. Series S is low-spec machine, and Wukong has optimization issues in the PlayStation 5. Yes, those are 2 facts. Sarge says you're not supposed to report unless you have facts. Otherwise, it's an opinion piece. Look, I don't know on his side, Sarge, if he had a source. He checked his source. He ran the story. That's all I can think of because that's what you're supposed to do. Right? Yo says, I feel like they got at least a hush-hush 6-month exclusive deal with Sony. That's just my opinion, though. That's a reasonable opinion to have, right? Papa says, 30, I'm just saying the other outlets always said that Tassie and his source, but Tassie is saying that the other outlets talk to the source. So using that phrase is super sus from the media. Well, there was multiple stories back then. It's just that we know about Tassie because Tassie, like him or not, he's the one of the most well-known people in the gaming space. Schreier, Tassie, Grubb, you know what I mean? Other people were told the same thing. What we don't know, Akuta Papa, is if it's the same person that was the source for Tassie was the same source that told IGN, which was the same source that told you see what I'm saying? Sure, Sarge. But the person where it's coming from has nothing to do with clicks, right? It was on a fucking blog site from the director of the game saying that the Series S was hard to optimize for. Right? And that wasn't to any news outlet. That was a blog that the director of game science wrote on. And this is what they're running on now, which is contradicted to the thing that they said before. Well, that's what Steam Deck has, right? Eclipse? Doesn't Steam Deck have 16? I think the Steam Deck has 16 and the S has 10. If I'm not mistaken. Altered says it's weird on how Jason Schreier butchered the name properly. He hasn't confirmed or any of that. You know, he loves being at the center of attention on leaks. Well, he backed down real fast. He posted that thing about it was about Black Myth Wukong, right? And then all of a sudden he took it down. Posted something about it and then took it down. Was that for Vanguard or was that for Black Myth Wukong? I think it was for Vanguard. Now that I think about it. I think that is gonna do it. I don't see any other news stories. They got Marvel Rivals leaks, which we already covered. Got the winter sale. Lots of Marvel Rival just showing the leaks of the Fantastic Four now. Everyone's running with it now. So I'm assuming now it's not even a leak anymore. Now it's actually coming out. New York map trailer on January 6th. So January 6th, they're going to show the new trailer for the Fantastic Four for Marvel Rivals. Yeah, so next Monday. So we'll watch that next Monday. Papa says, 30, I agree. Articles came out after Tassie and never referenced any other source that Tassie and his source. So there's a break in logic between all of that. Very minor, but there is. All I'm saying is I have a problem with the whole process. Akuta Papa, right? I have a problem with the whole process here. Right? Like you're saying, someone's lying. Someone's lying, and as a consumer, as someone that reads articles and listens to certain things every single day. We cover news stories and articles, right? All I want is the actual news, right? Right? Black Myth Wukong is not on Xbox. Great. Why? But no one can give us a reason, right? Black Myth says, "Oh no, it's not because of a deal." But then they say it's also not a problem with the X, right? And Microsoft says, "Oh no, nothing's been brought up to us. There's a problem." And now all of a sudden they come out on a blog. On a blog, by the way, not to a news site, not to anything else, a blog that they wrote on themselves on some forum board, okay, that they come out and say that there's a problem with the Series S, right? Now we know because we have a brain between our two ears and behind our eyes here. that we know that the Series S causes problems. But at the same time, there is other games that run on the S just fine, okay? But yet they're having problems with this particular game running on the S. So other games can run on the S that are much more powerful, and yet they're having problems, which then shows the inexperience of game science developers, which facts are that it's poorly optimized on PlayStation 5. These are facts. These are things that we know that are actually happening, right? But we don't know who the fuck is telling the truth. We have Generation X Gaming on Spotify. We have a couple of my daily, this show that I stopped doing for like a month over on Spotify because no one was listening to them. We have the Chatting With over on Spotify. So I have 3 podcast type of things over on Spotify. One's under Generation X Gaming, one's under Chatting With, and then one's under the Daily Grind. Wait, is the Steam Deck more powerful than the S? I'm pretty sure the Steam Deck has 16. Yeah. Kraken says Steam Deck has 16. Yeah, and the Series S has 10. Eclipse says they need to get rid of the whole coming to games at the same time if they want to do it. Make it where the Series S can use the NVIDIA GeForce or something. Kuda Papa says the way the article or headlines are for just throws huge red flags for me from the media themselves. I could totally be wrong, and yes, by something with all the original reports are off. And I agree with you there. All I'm saying is, right, I know you want to say that Paul Tassie's a liar, but if he's a liar, it's because Microsoft lied to him. You see what I'm saying? If Paul Tassie's lying, then Microsoft is lying. Unless Microsoft doesn't actually know. They know why the game's not on their system right now. Right? They know why it's not on there. The Steam Deck isn't more powerful overall, just more RAM. Right, but it's the RAM that they need to optimize on the system, is it not? Isn't it the smart RAM? Papa says, was a real Microsoft source, though. Tassie isn't known for checking sources for being fair. I don't know. I wasn't in his fucking lap when he had the phone call. I don't know. I have fucking no idea. So Danny Koo on Twitter said, and in his words, we're going to kick off season 1 with a fantastic lineup. Okay. So starting off season 1, they're putting all 4 of these characters in season 1. Robert Jones says Series S has 4 teraflops versus the 1.6 Steam Deck. Yeah, but that's not what they're complaining about. They're complaining about the smart RAM or whatever the fuck it's called. Is that what they said? Here's the way I look at it, Akuta Papa, right? Unlike the sources, right? I'm not saying anything's official, and this is why I stick to my guns here, right? I'm not going to say that he is a liar because we could all speculate on who we think is lying, right? But that's just our opinions. That's not fact, right? Right? We do know the facts are that Microsoft said it's not the Xbox because they were never told by game science that was a problem. This is what they said, right? We do know that Game Science, right, said that, well, no, there is no plan deal in place, right? That's what they said. Microsoft said we can't comment on other partners' deals, right? Whatever that fucking means. These are the things that we know. Okay, we can all speculate and say who we think is lying, and then one of us probably will be correct, because when two teams fight and one's praying for one team to win and the other team is praying for the other team to win, half of those people are going to be correct and the other people are going to be wrong. But to say that you were right because your team was correct and won doesn't mean you predicted it. You see what I'm saying? Lucas says, for the price of the Series S, it's an amazing machine. I always have been grateful that it exists in 2020. It was a rough year. Yeah, no, my son plays it, and he's never had issues. The only problem he has is storage issues with that game. Robert Jones says Tassie might be lying about Microsoft, but we already lied about the S. Exactly. Right? I appreciate it, Ghost. I appreciate it. Robert Jones says, fuck it. Everyone's lying. You know what goes in this place? We'll just have to wait for the story. And when we wait for the story, this is what we have to wait.
Hi, I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have: patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
That's it, right? We're going to wait so long for something so disappointing. Yeah. How many more of these? Right? How many more stories, how many more things are we going to have to wait? We just have to have patience to see what the story is. 30, the RAM is fine. The Steam Deck has 16 gigs of RAM. Running at 88 or 102.6 gigs, and the Series S is at 8 gigs, running at 224 gigs. But okay, so what is Game Science talking about with the 10G? What is that? What are they talking about there? Because they say 10, and you're not putting a 10 anywhere in this segment here. So what is that 10 that they're talking about? They said 10 smart storage, isn't it? Isn't that what they said? I would have to look it up. Let me see. He put it in the chat the other day. Yeah, he says, but the 10G of shared memory. Shared memory. Steam Deck shared memory, I believe, is 16. The shared memory for the Xbox Series S is 10. That's what he's talking about. The shared memory. Probably use more than the 10 gigs in the base optimization. That seems like a problem with the company, right? That seems like a problem with the developers. 30, no. I mean, I'm reading what Game Science has said. That's what they said. This is the quote from his thing. Although there were no big surprises, I still felt a little emotional after getting all of them, okay, Steam awards. Everyone's fighting hard for us, but the only thing missing is the Xbox award, which should have been there. But the 10G of shared memory, it's really impossible to get it without several years of optimization experience. Go says, was there anything official where I said that it didn't make an exclusive deal with Sony, or did they just keep talking about the S? No one's ever denied it. They never said they had a deal, but no one ever denied it, right? They're just like, no, we don't have a deal. They didn't say, like, Game Science didn't say it. Sony never got back. Game Science never said it, right? No one could find a deal, but no one ever negated the deal of the actual other things, right? I don't know. Titan says, well, it makes sense that Game Science prioritizes the PlayStation 5 and Steam Deck over Xbox because of player-based numbers. We had this conversation the months ago, Titan. That's what I said. And then someone else came in here and said, well, that doesn't make sense. I was like, what do you mean? PlayStation 5 has 60 million people playing the game, the console, right? And PC, those are the two biggest platforms. So if I was a small company, and I said this months ago, if I was Game Science and the small company, I would make it for the two biggest systems first and then worry about the smaller one later. Eclipse says, I mean, it's the first AAA game. Of course, it's going to have problems optimizing for a weaker system. Yeah, which is fine. Which them saying that's impossible, right? It's impossible to get without several years of optimization experience. They don't have that optimization experience. Here's the thing, though, right, Ghost? You're not wrong there. If it comes out and they actually did have a deal, right? Let's just say they still have a deal. But let's also say that it's also because they can't optimize. So now here's two things now. If it comes out and it's not on Xbox when it first launched because there was a deal put in place of, let's say, 6 months, but then the 6 months is up, and now it can't come out and it's delayed even more because they thought they had time to optimize it, but they can't optimize it. They need more time. Both things are true. So both things would be like the reason it didn't come out for Xbox originally was because they had a deal. And the reason it's not coming out for Xbox now is because of the optimization problems with the Xbox Series S. Both things can be true. This is why I'm saying that I don't know who's lying or who's telling the truth, because both things could be the exact, like, both things could be true. They could have a deal and it could be bad optimization. Right? And that is what the crux of my argument is. Everyone's saying that, oh, this person's lying and this person. I've been saying for 4 months ago, I was like, both could be true. 1408, 1644.8 gigs a second on Steam Deck versus 190 on the Series S. While how much memory does help, the amount of data you can transfer via RAM is more important. But what does that mean when he says the 10 gigs of shared memory? Right? Is there more shared memory on the Steam Deck, or is there more shared memory because it runs on the Steam Deck, or is there more shared memory on the Xbox Series S? I'm asking because I'm not a tech whiz like you guys. You guys know way more about that stuff than me. I'm asking, what's he talking about then with the 10 gig shared RAM? I don't know, Eclipse. It's being translated, right? It's being translated, and the translation says, but the 10G of shared memory, it's really important or really impossible to get without several years of optimization experience. What if they're both correct? What if they have a 6-month deal, but the game will also take longer than this since they're unable to optimize the time? Alternate. I literally just said that. I literally just said that. Thing on? Hello? Is this on? Is that what I just said? You've got to be behind or something. There's no way. Hey, I wrote it before you said it? No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. You're behind. You're behind. Move the little dot at the bottom and move it all the way over to the left. How would I have said it and then read your thing? Right there. That is literally false. I literally said it before you wrote it. That's not how that works. Yeah. We'll just negate that, Ghost. Don't worry about it. Yeah, no, I didn't say it before he wrote it. Maybe he wrote it and forgot to hit enter. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just, you didn't have all the information, Altern. Okuda Papa says, no, not sure you can play with that. What's available to the GPU on the Steam Deck. My ROG has 16 gigs, and I have a split of 8 gigs for system and 8 gigs for GPU. I can go and change that. Altern, all the way I look at that is that you thought the same way, because that's what makes sense, right? To say that one's a liar, they just don't know. Sort of like, what's his name from X Defiant, right? Mark Rubin, right? Mark Rubin, when asked straight to his face, is X Defiant going to be done after season 4? And he said, no, not true, right? Even though it was true, because it was done after season 3. Right? He didn't know that X Defiant was being closed down, but they knew. So him coming out and saying that X Defiant was not, both are true. He didn't know, and it wasn't closing, but they just didn't tell him yet, right? So Game Science could have a deal, and Game Science could have problems. They just didn't say anything to Xbox yet, right? And now it's coming out, and when the Xbox says, yeah, no, when asked the question 4 months ago, why is the game not on Xbox? They said, well, it has to be a partner thing, and nothing's been brought up to us 4 months ago that it's anything to do with the Series S. But we're 4 months later, and now the guy's coming out on a forum saying, hey, yeah, it's not working. Hey, we're behind, basically, and it's because of this. So now both things are true. They weren't true 4 months ago, but they're true now. Robert Jones says, shared or not shared is simply minimum requirements on PC, 16 gigs, PlayStation 5 and, and Series X use 16. S has 10, bearing anything architectural differences. Robert Jones says, damn it, 30. I was about to actually type that. Which one? The X Defiant? Oh, not done after season 4. Done after 3. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't know. He didn't lie. He didn't lie. That's right. It never got to season 4, so... Can I have that poster in the background? This one? I'll be honest with you, Cutler. I would give it to you, but I won't, because I hate the poster, right? I hate the poster because I don't like Michael Bay, and that's Michael Bay Transformer, okay? But my brother-in-law gave it to me. And my brother-in-law, you guys don't know, but he doesn't like the things I like. Right? I'm a nerd. He's a hands-on guy, like fixes engines and stuff like that. And that right there represents more than just a Transformers poster to me. That represents that my brother-in-law, who cares about me, took interest in what I like, and he gave me a Transformers poster because he knows I like Transformers. So I don't like the poster, but I love the poster because it was given to me by someone who tried to connect with me. Altern says, what are they optimizing it for? Nintendo Switch 2? Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious? If it came out for the Xbox and the Switch 2 at the same time, oh, that would be so good. Yes, Jones. Same exact person that gave me Suicide Squads. Yes. Yeah. He doesn't know right? He doesn't know that Suicide Squad is going to be what it was, and this is why I said, don't get me stuff like that anymore. Just give me a gift card. Let me purchase this stuff. He's a gem. Keep him around. Yeah. No, he does. He gets me like random stuff. No, it's funny. This is funny. Hold on. Let me see if I. Oh, give me 1 second. So this is funny because my mother-in-law, she gave me this game one year. Okay. If you guys don't know about Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, it's probably one of the shittiest games ever created. Right? After this, let's just say my mother-in-law doesn't buy me any kind of video games anymore. Okay? I was like, don't get me, right? They pay attention. They know I like Marvel. They know I like video games, and they're like, hey, right? They're like, here's this. And I went, no. Of course Dustin likes it. The movie's the same. I'm more surprised there was a game of the movie. Yeah. So what you're saying is they don't like you much. I mean, sure. Yeah. Yeah, they've bought me a lot of things that I appreciate. Clip says, Dustin, now I know you're a bot. This game is terrible. Okay, terrible. Let's look up what this game is. Okay, and this is way before people hated on games. Hold on, let's see. What is Metacritic? Go to Metacritic. Let's search it. Okay. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer game. Oh yeah. It's a gem. It's a gem. Critics gave it a 45. And 15 users gave it a 6. This is bad. Eurogamer gave it a 50. Wham Gaming gave it a 27. Bad game. PlayStation 2, 36. Wii, 39. Xbox 360, a 45. DS, 35. And a PlayStation 3, 47. It's a banger. It's a banger of a game. Lego Superheroes is fantastic. Much better game than Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, the video game movie adaptation. All right. On that, we're going to be calling it a day. I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. We'll be back tonight for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. If you want to come by for the podcast, come on by for 8 p.m. Eastern. That's when me and Sarge go live for Generation X Gaming. Season 11 starts, okay, episode 423. You guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
shine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuned in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Laughs and news on winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning